What is up, beautiful people?
Hello.
Welcome to Learn How to Trade. That is your girl, Adara. I am Sharif, and we're going to wait for everyone to come over from the other stream and populate the chat, and then we'll do our infamous roll call there, taking a page out of Sean's book, of course.
Sean would love that.
Yeah, he loves that. He does. We actually have a roll call animation
Yeah,
that will probably...
it's the one he does at the after.
He does. He has it. Yeah, we're going to migrate it over on our stream. There we go, baby. Mateus, No, Juan Padilla, Rich Naples, Patrick. Thank you. I'm good. I had 4 already. Big Patrick Langlois.
Thank you.
Adam, what happened, man? What happened there with Villa? Geez, Villa's a real deal. Big Adam Deleuze, 420, Bud Monster, Ponzi, Fonzie, Raul, Will Evans, Ryan, Fee Rhymes with AMC. We got the whole crew in the house, and one of the best names there, I gotta say, Huadukin. I had to shout him out earlier on in the stream. Good morning, Adara.
Good morning. How are you?
How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I was telling you, it was like I caught up on some news. I caught up on some writing. I think it was a fairly productive weekend.
Right.
All around, no complaints from me. Spent some time thinking about trading a little bit, you know, what strategies I kind of want to employ. What about you? Did you do anything exciting?
It was good. It was chill. Yeah, got a lot done. Did that active rest. I'll talk about that later on the stream for all the people following along my exercise routine. But guys, quick, we got to take care of some housekeeping. We are brought to you by Search Trader, account funding of up to $1 million. Guys, keep up to 90% of the profit. Enjoy relaxed trading rules with an 8% max trailing drawdown on all new accounts. Shout out to the folks there at Search Trader, who, by the way, still have that trading competition. You get 100,000 fake dollars. And if you get first, I'm assuming here, you get $1,000 cash as the top prize. Also teaches you how to trade. So check that out if you're interested. All right, going to cover this AVGO trade right from the get-go, because this is the day maker right here, baby.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, waited. You know, you could have said, look, Sharif, this is way extended, my boy. We were in the pre-market there at 950-ish, Adara, 9 mid-50-ish, and then by the time I got into this monster over here known as Broadcom, we were at the 995 and 2/3. But it was several beak wetters all the way up to my last out there at $1,008. So this was like that
thing's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
but
gorgeous.
Smaller size.
Yeah,
definitely.
well, that makes sense, but that's like risk management, like we were talking about, like something that moves like Broadcom that isn't really a day stop. You have to do smaller size, I would say. Because
we're talking about entries and exits today, I'm going to put you on the spot right from the get-go.
Let's do it.
Have a look at this chart. Ram, throw up the chart so we can put Adara on the spot here. Now, Adara, I got in here, as you can see with the green triangle.
Yes.
Where would my out have been if had not gone up the way that it
lower
did?
Low, right?
Yeah. So where would I have gotten out? Just point to it, and I'll point to it on here.
So I can't tell really if the lower low here is the 994, the 992.
Are you talking about this spot right here?
Yes.
Adara killing it already. We haven't even warmed up yet. She's already spotting out the exit. So obviously here we had lower high, and then we didn't make a newer lower low. So I was like, interesting. Okay. So we're going to get a hold around this 990 area, punched, and then the rest is history. Really jettisoned through that $1,000. Yeah.
Great word.
Thank you. Through that $1,000 level. It had danced with 1,000 earlier in the day, but you got a quick rejection, and then it danced with it again on the second attempt. Third time was a dang charm. So there we go. Ride that bad boy for, geez, man, that is a monster. That was literally a $13 winner at the top there, but obviously with much smaller size. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Adam, nice trade there. Thank you. Buyer came in on your EMA. Lovely pin bar, bullish candle. Adam, that's an excellent analysis, but what I want to know is what happened on Saturday. That's all I want to know. Very frustrating. Obviously, I'm going to get right to it. Arsenal lost to Aston Villa at home to Villa. Villa's a real deal. They have 1-0 wins back-to-back now against some of the best teams. I'm talking about Arsenal. I'm talking about City. And yeah, I can't say I was very pleased about that, but that was made up for quite quickly yesterday night when, the Cowboys obviously did what they did. So, yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that on the weekend. Can't have it all. Emery taking revenge, says Anurag. Yeah, he was quite motivated. He parked the bus as soon as he got that 1-0 lead, and then, you know, was 8-10 guys behind the ball defending at all times. We are still a very good team. They beat City at Villa Park as well, says Adam. Absolutely. I just want to complain a little bit. All right, guys, we are going to talk today about entries and exits, and the context in which we're going to talk about them are twofold. One, we're going to talk about entries and exits out of the most classical chart patterns and out of channels. The channel ones will be more straightforward. You break the channel low, or you make a new low, or you break the channel high, you make a new high. That will be for shorting. That will be your exit. But the chart patterns are more nuanced. It really depends on the pattern. The entries and exits are dependent upon the pattern's shape. So we'll talk about that. We did talk about that in the context of chart patterns, but we didn't emphasize on it. Today, what I'll be doing is I'll be actually using my software to try and locate certain patterns to see if we can actually take trades on them in the wild, on the moment. Dara loves that when we say in the wild.
I mean, we're going to be trading in the wild. Like, I think that was something that was a little like, you know, a bit harder with some of the more theoretical lessons, or also when we were looking for hyper-specific chart patterns in the wild. But I think now that we're specifically talking about entries and exits, I think we should hopefully be able to find some things in the wild. And as always, if anyone spots anything, you know, on their trading journey that looks like kind of what we're talking about, hit us up. There we go. But yeah, I mean, I can briefly discuss my trade in the wild here, which was, I was saying to Sharif off camera here, all my favorite stocks to trade are doing things today. Lululemon doing things, Eli Lilly doing things, Netflix doing things. And by doing things, I mean, like, you know, an interesting time. But Lululemon here, yeah, so I was trying to get in on this upward channel here today, which is pretty apt given the upward channel movement. We got, so my thing was I'm trying to have like tighter stops. That's what I said when I was reflecting on trading over the weekend. I think I decided my strategy right now is going to be smaller sizes and tighter stops. So this kind of fell out from under me though. I just was not, it fell out so quickly I was not able to get my outfilled. I got out about 502, which was a bit more than I was leeway that I was willing to give the trade. I wanted to get out around that 503 initially if we broke below that 503. But, you know, the goal was just getting out of the trade. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But, yeah, I will, you know, basically generally the goal is just like tighter stops, being kind of more cognizant of getting out of these trades. But, yeah, the general upward channel here was not a bad look. I'm going to keep an eye on Lulu for other opportunities. But, yeah, I just thought it was something worth talking about given that we will be discussing price channels and today.
All right. One quick final housekeeping thing here to talk about. Neil mentioned it a bunch of times already on the morning show, but there's a clear divergence today between the NASDAQ and the Mag 7 names. And that should be spoken about here because kind of what I saw, come to the chart if you're able to, Chilean Nightmare, if basically what I saw here was an immediate sell at the opening bell on all 7 names, yet when you look at the NASDAQ, it looks like it was moving up. So what the word that comes to mind as soon as I see chart patterns similar to that is rotation, okay? So what I kind of suspect happened this morning is a large money fund really liquidated its Mag 7 names and rotated into other names in the NASDAQ that aren't comprised of the Mag 7. Because that's really the only way that you can explain. I don't know what the 7 combined are account to the weight of the NASDAQ. I'll have to do that calculation at a different time. But the way that we moved immediately was somebody was liquidating their 7, the Mag 7 names and looking to rotate into other NASDAQ 100 names. Now, we were kind of given a little bit of information this morning about new names joining the NQ, DoorDash being one of them, some others being taken out, eBay. Who else was coming out of the NASDAQ? eBay, who else? Zoom, thank you.
And Phase.
And Phase, yeah, sorry, Reliable. I know Reliable Rudy, if he's there in the chat. Big fan. Yeah, well, I can't blame the guy. It's a hell of a company. It's just, you know, not the time for it at the moment, sadly. So that's what I saw immediately this morning. The other thing is, Neil again mentioned that this morning as well, we are on the new contract. I'm talking about the March 15th, 2024 contract. At least that's what we're using on this floor. So the levels that I'm going to speak about with respect to futures, whether it's the Russell, the NASDAQ, or the ES, are going to be for the March contract, not for the December contract anymore. There is a marked variance between the two. Wow, we did a bit of a dance here with 16.4 on new March contract, and we rejected 16.4, quick wick right above 16.4 into 16.412, and then a move back down. We'll have to talk more about those levels as they materialize. So we have to wait and see about that. But first, now, let's talk about some of these entries and exits on chart patterns. Now, the one that came to mind right away was a bull flag. I wanted to show you guys a bull flag so I can show the entry and exit on a bull flag. Nothing is coming up right now. I'm going to use my program to kind of narrow down where I can find some of these chart patterns so they can show it to me live in the moment. But let's talk about the first one. I'm going to pull up, oops. The one I want. I'm going to pull up a quick image over here. I'm going to send it to Adara for a second while I can pull up the image, and then we'll get going with the lesson.
Yeah, I think this will be a really exciting lesson. I think, you know, I was saying I think it'll be really cool to be able to find stuff in the wild that we can kind of talk about trading. And Sharif will be quizzing me as well.
Yes.
It's always, I think, a really good learning opportunity for myself. So yeah, exciting times. Also, someone's saying in the chat here, I just have to address this. UV the great hip hop recording artist. J. Cole just named top MC over Drake and Kendrick. All I have to say is just this face. Just this face. I don't need to say anything else. But I just wanted to address that. Thank you for putting that in the chat here. Also, so I'm in this paper trade in Eli Lilly because I'm still using the sim as I learn. I got in here at this 577.50. If we make like kind of a, I would say like decisive break above 578, I am outie. I have my first, I should be getting my first peak wetter in a moment here. I do not know why he has not arrived, but I put my first peak wetter here, this 576.50. There we go. Here we are. Yeah, I think I was going to get my next one out here at 575.50 because I like those kind of dollar levels here. But yeah, that was kind of a new low that we just made, so at that 576. So we shall see if Eli Lilly can sustain this swoop to the downside. We did have a strong negative catalyst, though, for this one with regards to some studies suggesting that the efficacy, the longer-term efficacy of their weight loss drug might not be all that. I'll put it that way. But yeah, basically people were seeing that they were regaining weight after they stopped taking it. So obviously not a great claim to fame for a weight loss drug. Continuing to flush hard here. I'm going to get the rest of my stuff outie of this trade once I'm ready. But yeah, this is kind of beautiful. This is an example too, and this is one of the big questions I'll have as we get into the lesson. Yes. But I think something that always kind of makes me nervous is how do you know when you could enter a channel if it's still ongoing? So I think that's something I'm really excited to have some examples of, some visual cues, and I hope other people will be able to benefit from that as well, because I think it's one of those things that is quite frequent in the wild, these chart patterns. So yeah, I think it shall be a good time.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I'm being told there's a bull flag on coin. My program is telling me that. Try a bear flag, bro. What the hell is this thing talking about? Oh, yeah, no. Well, it says it's a bull flag here, bullish. I don't know what time frame it's looking at. But yeah, obviously this is not a bull flag here on coin, so maybe I can't really trust this. Yeah, that's clearly a bear flag, if anything. I mean, it's followed by, okay, so maybe I should have tested it out. Cloudflare also is telling me, let me see here what net is doing. I'm trying to look for bull flag, guys. If you guys see a bull flag in the wild, let me know so that we could have a look and talk about where to get in, where to get out, and the measuring that comes with the bull flag, bull pennant analysis. Yeah, this is clearly telling me the wrong thing because both of these ones have marked downtrends preceding the consolidation area here. So I'm not really sure about this. So we'll have to leave that. Yeah, this is quite inaccurate here. I'm talking about this pattern finder that's on my platform. It's supposed to be able to find patterns that I narrow so I can select double top, double bottom, bull flag, whatever ABCD pattern. We'll have to talk about that. But a good question that Adara just brought, so maybe we'll start with this. We'll go next to channels, and then we'll talk about patterns in a second once I'm able to find some. So channel technical analysis, just so I can show exactly what I mean here. All right. So your question was, well, if I'm in a channel, how do I get in and out of a particular trade? So
exactly, yeah, and how do you know like when it's safe to enter because the movement's already kind of been ongoing?
So right away, to know that we have a channel, we need two things. We need 2 points of contact on the bottom and 2 points of contact on the top.
Okay.
So the trend, by definition, requires at minimum 2 points of contact. But we're not talking about trend, we're talking about channels. So there's an added requirement, which is 2 points of contact from the bottom, which would just be a trend, and then 2 points of contact from the top. So that way we can have, a channel.
Yeah, like we can actually have something that is kind of moving and not like in a sustained direction.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right? So by definition, what we're looking for here is a price channel with a defined or general area that's a low and a general area that's a high. So my approach to getting in, so here's the initial point where we make initial contact right there. So that's touch number 1, touch number 2, touch number 3, and touch number 4. So I would say we have a developed channel at this part over here. Now you technically have 2 touches over here, but I would say that this is part and parcel of the same one.
Same kind of move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Likewise over here, their general areas are the same. So 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
Now, so to get in, obviously I would not be interested in getting in at these highs. What I would be interested in though is an initial short at this particular area. Now, if I had gotten in short here, my out would be the break of the high over here.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then that would be my stop loss, okay? And then the exit for profit taking would be on the lower end of the channel. If I had not waited for this particular area to get short, but rather waited for a long, I'd be interested in getting a long over here, and then the break of this particular level over here, the making of a newer low, would tell me that the trade is no longer valid, and obviously I'd be looking to take profit towards the higher end of the channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can go like in and out, long or short on the range.
You can
as
keep
long as you have
doing it.
levels. Okay.
So it's really much like a consolidative trade. I don't think much is different between a sideways moving channel and an up or downward moving channel, except obviously the price action is different. But in the way that you get in, it would be the same for me. Looking to get in at long on the touch of the lower trend line, and getting in short at the touch of the top trend line, with the outs being the making of a newer high for a short, and the out being for a long, the making of a newer low.
Okay.
Profit targets would be based on the actual up trend line for a long, and the bottom trend line for a short.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
that would be my approach to trading channels, whether they were upward sloping, downward sloping, or horizontally sloping. The whole point is to use the upper and lower channel or trend lines, as guides. And then for the decision whether or not to be stopped out, if you're short, obviously it's the making of a newer high. If you're long, obviously it's the making of a newer low. So if I was to get in long over here, it definitely would be the out over here.
Okay, awesome.
That's how I would approach that. Guys, it's hard for me to kind of look for these chart patterns and kind of do this at the same time. So if you guys see anything with a bull flag, either on the 1 minute or the 5 minute, they can be small cap gappers or mid caps, whatever they are, throw them in the chat, tag me so that I'm able to see your tag. Someone says PCAR, PCAR has a bull flag. Let's have a look.
Yeah. Also, Roku apparently has a bull flag on the daily time frame. Yep.
So this is PCAR. Let's go over here. Yeah, I can see why they think it's a bull flag, because we had a big move up and then a sideways consolidation at VWAP. That's not really the one that I'm looking for. You can see it a little bit better on the 5 minute chart, that big move up. It's kind of lacking on volume a little bit though. What is the volume on PCAR, by the way? Let's have a look here. Yeah, it's about 600,000 shares today. It's not really going to cut it, for day trading. What else? Let's see. People are saying on the 5. Let's have a look at Macy's at on the 5 minute chart. I have that loaded up. Yeah, it's not much either. No, Macy's is definitely a U shape. Macy's is more of a cup and handle. So. This is interesting, actually.
And
here
a cup and pattern, a handle is a bullish pattern, right?
Yes. So you have the rounding off here clearly. This is the 5 minute look on Macy's.
Like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a rounding off where you make like a cup and saucer, or sorry, a saucer, and then you have the consolidation, which is the handle part of the cup and handle pattern, and then you looking like you want to break through that 21. So that's an interesting one. I wouldn't say this is a bull flag though. Let's see what LP people are saying. Yeah, okay. A lot of people are saying Macy's, which is interesting.
I saw Roku on the daily. I can pull that up.
Yeah, pull that up.
Yeah, Roku on the daily here.
What do you got? On
Bull
the daily
flag?
chart?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm on the 5-minute. Wow, Adara. Okay, so give me a moment.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, good
So that
continuation
would be, would that be this one, or
Well, they're
would they
both.
both
Remember
be?
what
Okay.
the continuation of the bull flag, like how are you supposed to measure how far the bull flag is go?
Based on the
maybe
poll.
Okay, go.
Yeah. So I have.
Explain what I said because I didn't
Okay.
get to finish
Sorry,
what I was
sorry, I got a
explaining.
little too excited. I'm so sorry.
Explain it, yeah.
But yeah, so basically, what Sharif was saying before I interrupted there, I
No, you're
apologize,
good.
is basically for the bull flag, you are measuring the movement that we had up on the poll here, right? So we started at, I'm going to say roughly, I guess like 56.50 more or less. This poll ended here at 84. So this is about $28. Right? This is a pretty significant move up. So, I mean, this is longer term true, to be fair. So obviously this would be, I guess, more of like a swing type moment. But then you've got your movement down here. You do have, and keep in mind with the flag too, it's more of kind of a rectangle. So you have our little rectangular movement to the downside. Then we break up at 80. So then you're planning for your profit taker. And this actually, this is beautiful. This works like to a science. So we go 80 and we said 28, didn't we? Look where we get the high, 108. There we go. It's it's an exact science.
Wow.
At least this one anyway.
That's a
so
beauty.
that's beautiful. And then from this 96 area to this 106, so this is about a $10 bull flag should we break out of this one. But yeah, thank you so much to Plotting Profits for mentioning this Roku bull flag here, because this is beautiful, and I'm happy I got the opportunity to analyze this one in the wild.
Well, that's a really good look. That's a really great one. Sadly, it's not intraday, but what a beauty.
Still gorgeous,
yeah, absolutely.
And still a really good example. So thank you, Plotting Profits. If you were swing trading this one, like, beautiful.
All right, let's talk about the cup and handle that I have here on Macy's. Again, Macy's today, the target of a buyout for about $5.8 billion. That could go a little bit higher. It's trading a little bit below the premium price right now of around, I believe it's $21 and change, if I'm not mistaken, the buyout price. And so therefore, if it's trading below, that buyout price is trading less than the it's trading below with a negative premium, and if it's trading above it with a positive premium. Okay, so basically what I'd be looking for here is for the U shape to develop, and then for us to get that consolidative side. So what I would do is I'd be looking to get in the lower end of this consolidative pattern over here after the U shape, the smiley face, as Michael Moss.
The roundy face.
The roundy
as
face.
As you once said.
Yeah, has been developed. And my out would be the break of the lower end of this range. Now, to give myself a little bit of room, because we are in a little bit of a tighter range, I would give myself just a few shekels below this level. So if the cutoff point here is $20.60, because that's where the lower end of this range is, I'd give myself to, that 2050, 2049 to give myself some room. It's not an exact science, but what I'm looking for is a break higher than this and a break of the pre-market daily, the pre-market high, which on my chart here is at $21.15, $21.16 area. For a better target, I'd need to see what potential upside we have, and for that I'm gonna have to go to the hourly. And we haven't had anything around this range on the hourly, to be quite honest, so we're gonna have to go the daily. So where we're trading at right now, the next obvious resistance level on the daily is going to come in at around that $23 to $24 area. Now, it really depends if you're looking at the wicks or the closing prints. To me, the closing print's more important, so I'd say profit taking on this for a possible swing, I'm not saying intraday, to that $23 area, but we're already extended on the day, and that's the thing. That's why I don't have high hopes for this running into $23. We're already up 19%. We were up over 20%. But the entry on here would be anywhere in the lower end of this consolidation range. I'd like ideally like a 2060 print, high 50s print. That would be the move. The out would be the break of this lower end range over here. I'd give myself some room because it's not an exact science. And the profit taking level would have to be based on the daily chart, because we don't have any levels that show us an obvious area of resistance on the hourly. 4 hourly really got to go all the way back into March of 2023 of this year for any comparable price levels. So that is a look there on Macy's. If you're looking for a cup and handle pattern, how to get in, how to get out, obviously the best entry goes without saying would be somewhere in this area here, when it started to curl up and make newer highs. So that would be the best case scenario entry. But assuming you had missed it and now you're looking at a cup and handle pattern ex post facto after I'd already made started making the handle pattern, that would be my entry, lower end of the range with a stop below the bottom of Dara.
So I guess too, I have a question then. So that's another example of when you were saying like you like using pre-market levels as kind of good gauges for profit takers. That would be an example of that, right?
It would be in this particular case because
not always, yeah.
Not always. And the reason it's an example in this case is because we got to go all the way back to March 2023 for a price level higher than where we're trading at now. So it's by necessity, not by desire.
Okay, it's just by what we have. You got to use what you have. Okay, and then I guess that also going, further, getting a bit more cerebral here, that would be an example too of what you kind of said to me that I found really helpful, that it's good to kind of use the levels that you have and don't make levels that aren't there, right? So if you're interacting with VWAP, then VWAP could be an indicator you use. But if, like for example, just because I have NVIDIA pulled up right now, NVIDIA and VWAP have not been besties since like basically open. So if you're going to use NVIDIA as like an out, for example, for a short here for a loss, you're going to be, that's not going to be feasible, right? So it's just an example. So I think with regards to pre-market levels, I guess looking at it the same way, right? Just kind of like, if it's interacting, if you can use it, use it. If it's not feasible, if it doesn't make sense, don't use it.
Yeah, and in this particular case, just to build on your point,
thank you,
because we do have a kind of a pre-market level that's close. Ram, come to the chart. We do have a pre-market level that's really close to where we're trading. So we're trading at $20.72, okay? The pre-market high is $21.15.
Okay.
So they're awfully close, okay? Yeah. So if we were to run up and break through the pre-market high, I'd be looking to wet my beak at the pre-market high, but I definitely hold a larger piece for the dream, especially if I was swinging this, right? But in this particular case, we're not. We're doing intraday trading. So at any time, if it broke below the handle level, that would be my L. But my desire would obviously, firstly, to get that pre-market high, and then really, if I was lucky, to get 23. But I don't see us getting into 23 today. I think the move has been had. We'll have to wait and see what we get, obviously. But Occidental, another similar one to I want to say Macy's, where we got that rounding. Now, Occidental, they're in the news because they want to acquire. Yep, there you go. They're on fire there because she does a watch list every morning. So this company looking to acquire another energy company that deals in the Permian Basin. I forget their name. I'll get that in a second. But it's the third major energy company that we've looked at this year looking to acquire. And so they're running up on the news. They were up over 1%. Same thing a little bit here where you had a bit of a basing out, a bit of a smiley face happening in the pre on lower volume. That makes it less significant in my opinion. Then you get that big move up, and then look at this, that consolidation sideways, holding VWAP. In this particular case, because our levels on the handle are a little skewed between that 56.83 low and then the local level here is kind of like that 56.95. I would use VWAP as my exit. It's one of those ones where VWAP's playing in, it's factoring in to the chart pattern here. Typically, it wouldn't be a factor. You use the consolidation low as your out, but in this case, VWAP holding it quite nicely. So I'd be getting in anywhere around here, and then a break of VWAP would be my out. I'll be looking, obviously, for a continuation above that 57.21, which is the day's high. But with Occidental, we don't have the same problem as we do with Macy's, which is there is recent price action above where we are. So we have a whole bunch of different price targets, or sorry, profit-taking targets that we can lose. And in fact, in this case, it's kind of annoying because we have so many days that we have to consider, so many different resistance levels, because we've been in a bit of a downtrend, obviously with oil. 3 straight weeks, oil has been reducing. The West Texas Intermediate's been down in price. So what I'd be looking for here is not yesterday's, but December 6th level, the high around that 56.50, and I would have to use each day as a different resistance level. And that's kind of the crappy thing about this one. Kind of the opposite thing that we had on Macy's. We had to go so far back on Macy's to find a resistance level, while as this one, I just need to look back at December 6th.
Yeah, it's giving you like resistance levels in spades, right? So I guess at that point you'd have to choose which one makes the most sense for you, for what you're looking for out of the profit and your risk management.
Yeah,
right?
and the one that makes sense right away is the one that's immediately higher than where we're trading at now, right? Because I mean, I don't get to choose which of the resistance levels it's gonna respect, right? So I have to be cognizant of all of them, and sadly, because we've been trending down, there's so many. So Occidental, another one on my list. AMD has been an absolute banger as well. Kind of a possible head and shoulders here coming in on the 5 now. If we do get a head, I'm not saying this is, if we do get a head and shoulders pattern here on the 5, this would make sense as an intraday head and shoulders, because we know a head and shoulders is a reversal pattern, meaning that if we get a normal head and shoulders, it needs to be preceded by
head and shoulders needs to be preceded by an uptrend, and then if it's an inverse head and shoulders, it needs to be preceded by a downtrend, because it is a reversal and not a continuation.
Bang. And do we have an uptrend here preceding the head and shoulders?
Yes, AMD is like the king of today's uptrends, along with all its little chip friends, minus NVIDIA.
Chip friends.
Not
like
been invited to that.
You and your little chip friends.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, though, I would be hesitant to get into this. Number one, because it's very strong, 3% up on the day. I'm talking about AMD, and then as a group, save and except for ARM and NVIDIA and maybe SMCI as well, they're all rocketing up. So you have some, rotation out of the main names. NVIDIA's obviously been a monster. Look at it's breaking down through the neckline. Look at AMD right now as we speak.
You found one in the wild.
There we go. So again, the head and shoulders pattern, in case you didn't join us during the week we did on patterns, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. What we're looking for here is two shoulders that are lower than the head. And then you do have a neckline. The neckline is kind of the area where you like to wait for the breakdown in order to get in. In this case, it would have been that 132 and 2/3, 132 and 3/4, in and around that area. It would have been around right here. And look at it, Huadunk. We're already almost like, where are you at here? You're almost $1 in the money off that break. Sadly, I wasn't involved in this, but you're almost $1 in the money off the break of that neckline right there on AMD as it comes into the 50 period here on the 5-minute chart. Now, where are your entries? Where are your exits? Your entry is the break of the neckline. So it would have been around that 132 3/4, 132 and 2/3. Now, I had a bit of a debate with somebody in the chat last week whether or not the stop would be on the higher end of the right shoulder or at the head. I don't think there's a hard and fast rule. If you want to be more aggressive with your trade, you put it at the head to head. So 135, the break of 135.04, you'd be out. If you want to be less aggressive and be more tight on your risk management, you're taking it out at 133, the break of 50. That will be the break of the right shoulder. And then to me, what I'm looking for here, so I need to stop for a second and distinguish between intraday head and shoulders and daily chart head and shoulders pattern. The intraday head and shoulders just shows that the pattern is reversing on a short-term basis, okay? When you see the head and shoulders on like a 5-minute, the 10-minute, etc., this is what we believe, or what is supposed to be, a short-term reversal. However, if I was to see it on the daily, I'd be looking for a longer-term reversal, multi-day runner. So knowing that I've seen this on an intraday time frame, that needs to factor into where I'm going to be taking profit. And the first level I'll be looking for is a clear support level here, and that would be the pre-market consolidation area, so around that $130 area. So that would be almost $3 plus. And then if that was to continue to run, I'd be looking for Friday's close, which is that 129 area. That would be the other area I'd be looking at. So first and foremost is the pre-market consolidation area at that 130. And if we continue to run it there, I'd be looking at that 129, 128.95-ish. Obviously 129 is more important.
Yeah, so you would take a B quarter there at that pre-market consolidation, and then you would maybe save a piece for the dream for that 128, 129 area. Okay.
And I would even save a bit more if it continued to break through the Friday close.
Okay.
I'd even save a little bit more on that.
Okay, that makes sense. I also think it's interesting too, just to kind of go back to what we were talking about with I think risk management week. But yeah, like what I think is really cool, but regardless of whether or not you're you know, you're setting your stop loss at the top of the head or you're setting it at the top of that right shoulder, I think both ways it's really emblematic of what we were talking about with risk management week, which whatever you're going to use to get in to trade, use it to get you out of the trade, right? So if you're going to use a head and shoulder patterns to get in, use it to get out, whether or not you prefer the top of the head or you're a little bit more risk averse and you prefer the top of the shoulder.
Yeah,
so
what do you have over there?
Yeah, this I pulled up because
that.
James Gadiddy, I'm so sorry if I'm saying
That's
this wrong,
beauty.
in the chat, Donkey, I almost said Donkey Kong, oh my God, DKNG, DraftKing, a bull flag. And
is that the 5?
Yeah, this is more of a bull pennant,
That's a good look.
right? Or is it? So it looks a bit more triangular. But James, you are 100% correct in that it is a bull flag adjacent setup. It is just a little bit more triangular, so it would be a bull pennant. And then, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the breakout here would be the same, right? So you would measure from like the 35, I guess 80 to 36. 70, so about 90 cents, and then you would have about 90 cents to plan your out there.
Okay, but where would you start measuring for the continuation from? That's the tricky part.
Okay.
Okay, it's from the breakout area. And since we have declining highs and inclining lows, we have a compression pattern, which we have as a pennant. So I'd like, if that's okay, if you can draw. Ram, go ahead, chat. If you can draw the support and resist, the downward and upward channels for the compression pattern. There you go.
Not much
so
of an
draw
artist,
that bad boy right there. There you go.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. And then draw the down to. Yeah, just move that bad boy over. Okay. And so what I'd be looking for, there we go, is a decided break through that. Now, I got to tell you, personally, here's where I would take the long. Okay. Through right here. The break, sorry, I didn't mean to start a new one there. I would look for a closing basis higher high, but there you go. You're already getting that momentum. It's just, do you get bamboozled this time or does it continue to run? I personally would take it through here. What is that price? 35 what?
It's about 36.50-ish.
36.50. That's what I would personally take it. And the measuring starts from the breakout point.
Okay, so I would measure my 90 cents that I measured here. That would be, you'd have about 90 cents from your breakout point.
There you go.
So if you're measuring that at 36.50, you would have until about 37.40.
Whatever it was.
Whatever
you're actually really good at math. Yeah. I suck, so I gotta tell you. But that's exactly how I would do it.
Yeah, I appreciate you talking me through this, and I really appreciate James shouting this out. Also, Daryl Finch saying that he does the same thing with Donkey Kong. Yeah, I've heard Sean say it. Honestly, like even before I heard him say it, it's just the way that the ticker looks always trips me up there. So I'm happy I'm not alone there. But yeah, I think this is a really beautiful bull pennant and a really good example of finding something in the wild. And we know for a fact that Donkey Kong has been quite strong as of late. Yeah, it really has. Right? Multiple upgrades. They overtook FanDuel in terms of the #1 market share. We're in the heart of football season. We're about to get to the playoffs. The Cowboys won yesterday. That's definitely that's the sole reason that DraftKings is running. There you go. The Cowboys. No, but look, it does look legitimate like it is running at the moment. So that's a great look. Whoever pointed that out, good for them. Yeah, good look there. All right, Boeing. Someone wants me to have a look at Boeing here. So this is the 1-minute look on Boeing. I don't particularly see anything here other than an upward channel so far. Sure, you had that big move up at around 10:30, started pumping there. But to me, the upward channel looking a little bit better than anything else here. I'll look at this on multiple time frames as I should. When you're doing this type of analysis, you need to do a multi-time frame analysis to see whether your thesis jives on multiple time frames. But here's the look. On the 5 on Boeing. Now this could be the bull flag. Absolutely, it could be. We'll have to wait and see. But you have that big move up. Now the flag doesn't have to be pointed completely horizontally. It could be upward sloping, could even be downward sloping. There is no hard and fast rule about how a bull flag has to look. But good for whoever pointed that out to me. Who was that? I got to give him a shout out there. Someone was telling me to look at Boeing. It's Rhodesy. Am I saying that right, by the way? Rhodesy. Tag me, let me know if I'm mispronouncing it. But yeah, Rhodesy, absolutely. That does look good. You got to look at it on the 5. We'll have to wait and see what we get here with Boeing. Let's look at what Boeing's been doing on
the wider time frame.
I feel like it's had a lot of news lately, right? That Dubai Air Show was like, Boeing will be my bestie. And
that was kind of like the catalyst for it.
Yeah, I would
like
say that like kind of what got the whole ball rolling there.
Yeah. Look at the bottom here on Boeing. Boeing has been an absolute rocket as of late. We're almost up $75 here on Boeing. In the end of October, Adira, we touched that 176 area. We almost got down to 175 on Boeing. And then look, it is up and to the dang right, making new highs, breaking through the August highs on a closing basis as well as on a wicking basis. Boeing very strong, about to knock on the door of that 250. This is year's high right now. We are at year-to-date high on Boeing. We're on multiple year highs right here on Boeing. When was the last time we were up here? Hold on, let me look over here. The last time we were at this level on Boeing, we got to go to June 2021. Wow. Okay, so 2 and almost at a half-year highs here on BA. Am I saying that correctly? Yes, I am. We almost 2.5-year highs on Boeing as we knock on the door of that 250. So we already know that the trend is to the upside. So when you see a bull flag or a possible bull flag like the one I'm looking at right here, let me put in the ticker so everybody can follow along. It jives with the overall thesis, right? Now, how do I get in? How do I get out? Because that's the topic of today's lesson. Well, let's draw those upper channels. We got the higher highs, definitely, and we got the higher lows with that big move up already. So what I'm looking for is an entry near the bottom end of this channel if I can. This is assuming already that I've missed the move up, right? So we're assuming that you've missed the move up. Now you've seen a bull flag in the wild. You wanna weasel your way into this trade. How do you do it? I'm looking for an entry near the bottom end of this channel, right? And then what you're looking for to confirm that the bull flag is running is you're looking for a decided break above the wick. Now, what you're looking for is a closing basis print. I don't really care about these wicks because they could retrace. So I'm looking for something above that 247 and 2/3 on a closing basis. And then what you're going to do, like Adira mentioned several times, you're going to measure from the beginning of the bull flag. In this case, it looks like it was around that 244, 244 and a quarter, and you're going to measure to the upper end of the flag. In this case, it's that 247 and a half, 247 and 2/3. So that's $3.33, give or take. And then you're going to add that amount to the breakout area, and you're going to posit that it runs that amount. Now, it may not run that amount today, and I would probably, knowing how Boeing trades, unlikely to run that amount today. But that doesn't mean it won't run that amount on a swing basis. So especially when you look at it at a wider time frame, like say I'm observing this from the 15, I don't expect a bull flag on the 15-minute chart to manifest in one day. It's a wider time frame. It could be over multiple days. So that's what I'm looking at there on BA. A great look, though.
That's a good thing to consider here, too. Also, Rhodes's saying that he actually thinks it's a short and not a long.
Really?
But yeah, but the bull flag, I would say from my limited experience, generally it's a continuation pattern, right? So, yeah.
Why does he think it's a short? Rhodesy, tag me or tag Adira in the chat. Let us know what you see here making you feel like it's a short. And by the way, clearly define, are you a momentum trend trader or are you a mean reversion trader, so that we can kind of have like the context in which you're looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Yeah, because I think like that's why I always too, when people mention things in the wild, like, you know, it's great when you mention like time frames or kind of what is making you look at it, you know what I mean? Because I think time frames are super important, especially for these patterns. But like, let's be clear too, one thing that we've kind of talked about as well is basically like, you know, if you see, for example, that bull flag we saw on DraftKings in the 5-minute, maybe then look for confirmation of other bullish patterns or other bullish, you know, like maybe we're having indicator interaction on wider time frames. But also, I believe Rhodesy got back to you there.
He did. He's like, it's overextended, 3-day swing pullback. It's not a particular thing that I would put too much emphasis on. Maybe you have a proprietary trade or a system that you know, bases it on that. I tend to be more trend following, so if it's up and to the right like it is, this is the 30-minute right now on Boeing, I don't want to pretend like I know where the tops are going to be or guess where the tops are going to be. I'm just not that good personally, so I want my work done for me here. In this case, it's just following the trend. So I respect your opinion, and if you print on it, I couldn't be happier for you. But personally, it wouldn't be a trade that I would take, just because, you know, I'm trend following. So again, just to surmise here, I'm looking at getting, if this is a bull flag, I'm looking at getting in at the lower end. I'm waiting for a print on a closing basis above the higher end of the wicks for confirmation that we will break above this level, and then I'm measuring from the bottom to the breakout top and adding that to the breakout area and gauging how far this could run. That's my look there on Boeing, Adara.
You know, I think it's a really solid look there, and I think, yeah, there's a lot of really interesting things going on there for sure. Lots of interesting chart patterns. If anyone else has any other examples in the wild, definitely let us know so we can kind of look at these. And I think especially for myself as I'm learning, I find it to be really good practice to kind of be able to be in these situations where, you know, kind of identifying patterns, seeing how they interact and trying to find, you know, how would one enter or exit them, right? Also, so I pulled this up for Ama Hamada. I will, you know, this is just my opinion on this, but you're mentioning here for daily long-term, broke a head and shoulders neckline. However, from my understanding, it's on its way to break and retake that neckline on the upside. How do you play this? I mean, the thing is, my take, and I'll get Sharif's take on this when he returns here. She's just running to the washroom, I believe. But so the thing with this one is you've got this sort of like the pseudo neckline here. If I were to draw it, and I will attempt. I'm not very good at the drawing, but here we are. So yeah, we had this like sort of neckline here. We don't need the neckline to be exact, so that's fine. That's all good and well, right? But basically here, there, I'm just getting my life together. Yeah, so I think the thing is, like, generally, as we were kind of saying, it's more of a thing that you would take this short if we broke this neckline, right? So I think now it's like it could have just broken out of this pattern entirely. That would be my take on this, is that the head and shoulders entry would have been a skosh more valid, you know, if we're actually talking about when the neckline initially broke on October 19th, 2023-ish, which is definitely when Ford was very weak regarding the UAW, the UAW strikes, that type of thing, right? So I think that is pretty interesting. But yeah, I think that is really interesting. Yeah, I think it's an interesting one to think about, and I'll get Sharif's opinion as well. But yeah, I think it might just be a case of, I see what you mean, we are kind of retracing back to the upside. It might just be that this head and shoulders was more valid when we initially broke it, and now just, you know, different trends are taking place, right? That would be my food for thought on that one. Also, you know, while we're here just looking at stuff that is moving, I will mention my Eli Lilly short here. Because, you know, I'm in the sim, so this was a paper trade here, just but yeah, so this is, let me get on the 5-minute here. So I took this basically because we had a negative catalyst, as I said. I liked that we had a strong negative catalyst. We had consistent weakness. I got in at 577.50, and I was like, if we break decisively above that 578, I am outie. If we see, you know, a green candle to the upside, right? Because we had this consistent red candles, I figured I might have some room here. I took my initial out at this 576.50, so $1 in the money. And then we kind of continued to break to the downside. I was noticing we were having a skosh, as you can kind of see here, this red candle, a little bit smaller. I was noticing we were having a skosh of resistance here at this 574. So I got out $3.50 in the money with the rest of my shares. That was the Eli Lilly short. I just wanted to have a quick talk through there. Also now Sharif has returned, so I'm going to pull up this Ford with this question from Ama Hamada that I found really interesting, and I kind of shared my food for thought on this, but I'd be curious as to what you think. So basically, Ama Hamada saying, let me pull this back up here. For daily long-term, it broke a head and shoulder neckline. However, from my understanding, it's on its way to break and retake that neckline on the upside. How do you play this? So what I kind of said was, I think it was more like when we broke initially, the head and shoulders is more in play when we initially broke it, and now like kind of a new pattern might be taking form. That was kind of my take on this, right? Like, it's like,
what is that? 1 minute?
That's the 1 day.
Oh, the 1
day.
The
daily.
Good.
Yeah. So my kind of takeaway, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I was kind of thinking, like, you know, we did break the neckline to the downside, but now that the head and shoulders has kind of come and gone, we might just have a new pattern forming, right?
Well, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know exactly what you're going to get, but you know, one thing that I'm looking at already, Adara, is that double bottom that's manifesting here at that 9 3/4.
I didn't even see that. Okay.
Yeah,
so we might be more bullish now.
Yeah, and you got to be like, look at this. Look at this area here that we've had a lot of support at. They're not the exact same areas pre head and shoulders and post head and shoulders, but the post head and shoulders level is quite clearly defined. It's that 1150. 11 3/4. So if you're looking possibly long off that double top, well, the first thing you were looking for was a break of this neckline over here, okay? So if you had already missed the double bottom, the basing out here at that 9 3/4, 9 2/3, and you want to get long this bad boy, I would have waited until the break of the middle part of the W, okay? Which came here at $10 2/3. So that's the first level. That's how I would get in to this double bottom on a swing daily analysis, okay? Not intraday, guys. This is on the daily, and it's for a swing, not an intraday trade. I'd wait for that 10 2/3. The reason is that's the middle part of the W, and we're looking for confirmation of the double bottom pattern. That's firstly. So my exit, though, my profit-taking exit would be around that 11.50, and the reason is because, well, look what we did over here. We had a very clearly 11.50, 11.75, around that 25 penny area. So 11.5, 11 3/4. The reason is we had a long period of consolidation where that was the lower end of the range. So what happens when we have a very clearly defined support level? When we break through it to the downside, it becomes resistance, right? They switch sides. So that would be my first profit-taking level. Obviously, as with everything else, I probably wouldn't take out the entire position at that level, but to hold a piece for the dream to allow it to run. So I agree with you. It's kind of, I don't know if this is a head and shoulders because we don't have a clearly defined right shoulder, but it is something akin to it. It was preceded by a big run-up, and then we gave up the entire ghost and broke down below support. So it does make sense that this is something akin to head and shoulders pattern, but the way that I would get in, obviously, to wait for that, the break of the V, the top end of the W, and then profit taking around 11.75, 11.50. Okay. Ian Rispetto, what's up, my man? Thank you very much for the $4.99 super chat. Ian, a good friend of the shows and a longtime viewer. What is the negative catalyst for Lilly driving prices down? You trade Lilly all the time.
Yeah, I was because I was just talking about Eli Lilly, so that was my bad. I mentioned this one earlier in the show, but I did not mention it the last time I pulled up this stock. Just while you were there. But basically what happened with Eli Lilly was we did get some news this morning. There was a report published, and I did, as you can tell, I took a short off of this. There was a report basically saying that the study shows that their longer term effects, so basically if you stop taking their weight loss drug, there is a bigger chance of people regaining the weight that they lost on the drug. So the longer term efficacy is a bit meh, it's a bit shoulder shrug, it's not really there. Also, I have a question. Yeah. Would this actually, would any of these kind of here be bearish sort of flag situations here on Eli Lilly? Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I just noticed that and I was like, this is actually a good day for this to occur.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
It's just sometimes when you're so programmed to see bull flags, you don't really recognize that they are the exact same pattern, but just to the opposite side. Yeah, you just have to flip it and reverse it. Yeah. Shout out to Missy Elliott.
That's
a great look. It's a fantastic look there. Wow, 4 2/3, to the downside today, percent on Lilly. And I want to add in there, they're getting some competitors too, right?
Yeah, well. I know. Well, I knew too. Initially, they competed with Novo Nordisk, right?
Yes.
Because they were Zepbound is now bounding onto the scene. But yeah, I mean, I guess I know also too. I know Pfizer's trying to do a weight loss drug.
Yeah, they've been having trouble there.
But yeah, no, it's been interesting. Yeah.
Someone's saying SOXL bull flag. So I want to tell you guys something because I don't know if there's like a time limit there for how long the bull flag can sit there and just develop for. But on the 1 minute, this to me is not a bull flag anymore. Obviously, it really has more to do with the time frame in which you're looking at it. So when I look at it here on the 5, it looks a little bit better. It doesn't, it's not a bad look. There's just no doubt about that. But what I would want to do here is I'd be looking for getting in on the bottom end of the range. And I would be looking specifically to see whether these troughs, these retracements, make newer lows. If they're not, even if they're marginally above the previous trough, that's all I really need to see, because then what we got is an upward channel, right? Just because we move up and then we kind of consolidate sideways doesn't automatically make it a bull flag. It can move up and then it can create an upward channel. And that's what we're getting so far, guys. We've got higher lows on these two touches, and we definitely have higher highs. Not an exact science, so the upper trend line a little bit skewed at the moment, but that's fine. We're making higher highs as well. So that's what I'd be looking for here, treating this SOXL, sorry, I didn't put the ticker in, let me add that in. This is SOXL, which is the what's it called? The ETF for microchips, okay? The semiconductors, excuse me. I believe it's 3 times. This is a 3-time weighted, by the way. So that's what I'm seeing here. We got a nice big move up. We know that chips are absolutely strong today, save and except for ARM, SMCI, and NVIDIA. Everything else in the mid-single digits. I'm talking about AMD. I'm talking about Intel, Micron, AVGO is an absolute rocket. I'll get to my trade on that in a second. ASML, AMAT, Qualcomm, Marvell also up on the day. So everything's really moving up here except for the 3 names that I mentioned previously. So we know that it's a strong day for the chips. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a bull flag. I'm looking for an upward trend, sorry, an upward channel, and my entry on it would be as follows. Wait for the touch of the downtrend line. In this case, it comes in around right here at that, say, 25 1/4, 25 1/3. My out is the making of a newer low. My stop loss is going to be placed a smidge below this trough over here. So I'm getting in on this trough, and I'm basing my stop loss on the lower low over here. Now, you could say, Sharif, well, look how close VWAP is. Why can't you make your stop below VWAP? That's another opportunity. That's another perspective. You could do that. But in this case, it's only valid because VWAP is so closely monitoring or following the lower end of the range. It may not be that way in every case. So I would always place it on the breaking of the previous low. And then where am I taking profit? You guessed it, the top end of the upward channel. I'm taking my beak wetter, or I'm taking the profit out through that 25.80, 25.75 touch, obviously holding a piece for the dream. Now, if it continues to wave, and trend in the upward direction, touching the highs and the lows, it's a repeatable trade. You get out near the top, you wait for something to touch the lower end, the lower trend line, you get in long there, and then you wait for the touch of the upper trend line to exit. And always adjusting your stop loss to the break of the immediately prior low. So what do I mean by that? So right now, I was making an example. If I got in on SOXL right here at that 25 1/4, 25 1/3, my stop loss would be based upon the breaking of this trough over here, which would come to about 25.10, 25.09, okay? But say we touch over here at 25.8, and then we come all the way back down, and the trend now is at the trend line, the bottom trend line is, say, at that 25.40. I'm going to be basing my stop loss not on this trough anymore, but on this trough, on the immediately prior low, okay? So then my stop loss would have to move up to that 25.20 from that 25.10 area. So you're moving up your stop loss as you're trading range trading the upper channel. So that's what I mean to say by that. So your stop loss is not stagnant. It has to be dynamic based upon the making of a new trough. One immediately before, excuse me, your entry. So that's what I have to say about that. Hope that helps. Jay Lee, also important to mention, Lilly has a crazy PE over 100. It's being priced as a tech stock, a tech hot stock. Complete overhype in my humble opinion. Look, man, I don't disagree with you, and I don't really know what to make of these weight loss drugs. Because I kind of feel like we really don't know exactly how this is all going to play out. Do a whole bunch of people that got on them all of a sudden regain the weight, or are there any longer-term side effects that you really haven't come to light yet? And then when we get that data point, and it's, say, let's just assuming it's negative, where people do gain weight, or there are some side effects that are beyond the minimal. Do we continue to run up? So I think that there are some possible headwinds yet to be discovered. In addition to that, everybody and their mother's cousin from a biotech wants to get in on this play. So I'm assuming that there's going to be a whole bunch of these drugs probably coming to market soon. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's easier said than done, just based upon what Pfizer's track record has been this year. They're already 0 for 2. Yeah, they are. Well, I remember the June, and then they canceled this one.
No,
and
I'm just snorting because it's insane. Yeah, it is real. It is just
a baseball metaphor, but in all seriousness, guys, I mean, we don't really know how this all plays out. it's just like we don't have the what's it called, the track record, the history with these drugs. We don't know what they're going to do.
It's
right?
all like fresh and new. And I think maybe to reflect off of what Jaylee is saying,
Yeah.
maybe that's why they're kind of potentially being viewed, at least from an outsider's perspective, as like, hot tech stocks, because they're coming up with these new innovative things. Do you know what I mean? So I think that could be potentially what where those kind of valuations come from. That being said, yeah, it is a skosh excessive, and I think until we really know what they do, I think it'll be quite interesting to see here. But yeah, so Eli Lilly, like, I just got in on the short and then accidentally took more shares than I intended to, and now we are kind of flying up, so I might have to reevaluate this one, at least with part of my position. But for now, I actually just noticed this on my side chart, and I would like to know kind of your thoughts on this with regards to patterns.
Do it.
Was this more of just a flat channel here on Amazon, or was this, because it looked like it had the makings of a bear flag, but now we're kind of going to the high side?
Yeah. Yeah,
I just saw it.
Remember, like, what we talked about, like, not every chart manifestation is going to be a pattern.
Yeah, that's true.
But there could be here. It looks to me like we're holding that base, the double bottom.
Yeah.
See that?
Oh yeah,
Which is important around that 144 and 20, 144.
Yeah, I think 144 too.
Yeah, 140 around there. That would be what I would be looking at. The other thing that really stands out to me is the making of a higher low and a higher high there.
Okay.
So look at that third trough.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it's a higher low.
Higher high.
And then you made a higher high. So I'm cognizant of that. And then all of a sudden, what could have been what you thought maybe was a bear flag, all of a sudden becomes an upward channel for a retracement back into the mean. We don't really know. Right? We're going to have to wait. Not everything we're going to see on the chart is going to be a pattern, but there are some discernible trends for that. I want to look at AVGO here, because this is a monster that we were all involved in. Not all, but a lot of us were involved in AVGO. Ram chart. So far this morning, 995 and 2/3 is where we got in over here, and then the last out on AVGO was at 108 3/4. But look at that; it doesn't care about where my exit is. It kept running. So I said 108 3/4. Add to that another $8, maybe even $9. It got all the way up into 117 area, 116.95. This thing is an absolute rocket, guys. This was consolidating in the pre at $9.50, and now it has broken through easily that $1,000 area. Now we're talking about the 1,000 high teens. So AVGO, monstrous move. Now, I talked about AVGO in the past as one of those ones where analysts, they were looking for something similar to NVIDIA, but not priced as aggressively as NVIDIA. NVIDIA too rich for a lot of people in terms of valuation. They can't stomach the valuation, so they were looking for an alternate play. AVGO was that play that was spoken a lot about. And given what happened today on the NQ versus the Mag 7, this could be part of that bigger story of rotation. So we saw the 7 names tank, and we saw the NQ is up almost half a percentage point, while all the other 7, the Mag 7, are decidedly negative on the day. Well, all of a sudden, AVGO is up 7 2/3, and NVIDIA is down 3%. This could be part of that bigger story of rotation. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen every day. It could be 1 or 2 big money players who are, rotating into these names, and then it ends today or ends tomorrow, whatever. But it's something to definitely make note of, because AVGO and NVIDIA have been so often compared and talked about together. So that is the look on AVGO, but I'm very pleased with this trade. Housekeeping says Tesla. We'll have a look at that in a second.
It's a great name.
It's an amazing name, because it really fuses together 2 things I really like. Yeah. Housekeeping, kind of made up the word. Neil made up the word. So got to give credit where credit. Yeah, he's going to sue. All of a sudden, I'm going to see a cease and desist letter coming from his lawyer. And I love Street Fighter.
Okay, and I didn't realize that was a Street Fighter reference.
Oh, you don't know Hadouken?
No.
Yeah, Ryu and Ken, they go Hadouken, right? And then, like, this white fireball comes out. I don't even know if it's a fireball. Is it a fireball, guys? Whatever it is. Yeah, you haven't seen this? Oh man, we got to show you this. Adira.
I've heard of Street Fighter.
No, that's
I'm
what
not
it is.
familiar with Street Fighter.
That's
okay.
one of their moves. They have the spin kick, the uppercut, and the Hadouken, Ryu and Ken. They're from Street Fighter 1. They're the original guys. And then they brought in this other guy called Sagat, and he does much similar moves, but he takes off way more when he hits you because he's a giant. So same moves as Ryu and Ken, except when he touches you, you're gonna know about it.
That's crazy.
Hadouken, says Space Astronaut. Shout out to you, my man. All right, so that is a look on AVGO as this one continues to make higher highs on the day. This thing is an absolute rocket, looking to go 8%. We're already 7.8%. Do we get to that 1020 and make me feel like a dang idiot? Well, this one is just absolutely rocketing up, guys. No slowing down for this one. Make the spinning, James Dell, make the spinning kick noise. Sup, duke it. Yeah, is it something like that? Yeah, I'm not gonna try that again, Ram. You do it, Neil. Yeah, he doesn't want to do it either. It's hard to do. I don't even really know what they're saying. What are they saying in the spin kick thing? It's just it's noise. Yeah, you're talking about Chun-Li over there. I know what you're talking about. The Chilean Nightmares making the Chun-Li noise. I love it. The Piper, Sharif, Adara, blue bull flag on the 1 minute. Last 2 hours has broken higher. You want to have a look at that?
Yeah, let's
blue?
look at blue.
Yeah.
Blue and Q. Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm seeing it on the 5 minute sort of too, but I'll pull up the 1 minute because that is the one that has been referred to here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing one form right now. So from that 304-ish area to that 314. So yeah, you'd have about a 10 cent more or less, maybe 11 cent breakout here. I am seeing sort of I would say maybe more of a pennant here on the 1 minute.
Do you notice any other trends in that consolidation area? I'm not talking about that big move up off the bottom.
The flat channel?
No, even go before that. So coming to that low right there where you have, okay.
Okay, we were seeing lower, higher lows, higher lows. Okay, yeah. And then sort of.
And then how about the higher highs?
Yeah, sort of a higher high. Now we had a higher high. So it's a longer term. Basically, I think what you're trying to say here too is we're having a longer term, ascending movement, ascending channel with also having these little baby bull flags.
I would agree, and it doesn't always have to be that, Adara, but we have to note when there are higher lows and higher highs because that usually is telling us something. And in that particular case, all I see is higher lows and higher highs there. We had a couple of intervening ones where we didn't make that higher high, but eventually you got it right there, right?
Like we flew, yeah.
So funny. What about the uppercut sound, Sharif? TJ Lopez says, yeah, you're trying to bait me into that one. That one's a little bit easier to do than the spin kick one because that's the OU kit, right? Yeah, and I go, OU kit.
You just did it. It worked.
I love it. I can't get not baited there. I love that game. I got to tell you the truth. All right, let's see what else people are talking about in the chat. Follow Marshall.
I saw that.
Marshawn. Ram. Chart. Yes, I know. He knows. He knows all about that. All right. So anything else we can talk about with respect to trends or channels? We've been showing you the entries and exits on chart patterns that we often see and trend and channels, whether they're sideways moving, up or down moving, ways in which to get in, get out, where to have your stop losses, and where to have your profit targets. That's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about entries and exits within that context. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about trading economic events because it's very apropos. Tomorrow, we have CPI, correct?
Yeah, CPI and then Wednesday PPI.
We have CPI tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. And then the following day, we also have PPI and we have the Fed rate decision. Those are two economic events in one day, even though the PPI is far less as important as the CPI. Sometimes it isn't, but most of the time it is. So we're going to be talking about how to trade economic events, the entries, exits, stop losses, etc. So we thought that would be appropriate to wait for those days to trade that. AI, says Rhodesy. Sure, I'll have a look at that in a second. John Del Segno says ACMR is ripping. Is that a small capper? ACMR, let me just have a look. ACM Research, 7.31%, light volume, 313,000 shares. This is what he's looking at over here, guys. But as you can tell by the chart, it's sparsely traded. But good look, John. I mean, it's just not one that I'd get into because of the illiquidity. But it's one to, yeah, one that you can definitely talk about as a nice trender. Yeah. D-Loaf, can you go through the exit on UNG that saved you, big boy? The $6 break. We talked about UNG having a $6 base. UNG was my swing trade, my ill-fated swing trade on nat gas. Look at this. And here it is. So look at this over here. Let's zoom out a bit more. This was the $6 level that I earmarked, okay? Look how many touches we had over here. 1, 2, 3, a little bit, even over here, this 643. As soon as it broke that $6 area over here, yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I lost about 350 bucks on this trade, but that's fine with me, right? Well in the money on Apple, break even on, what's it called? On Li Auto and up on Cat. So I'm fine with this one. We take the L on this one. You know, I was talking to Jay Lee about it earlier. He's like, look, I like it off that possible 450. I don't want to try to guess the bottom. Is the only reason I got into this because it seemed to be basing out at the $6 level. It wasn't making any lower lows. When that newer lower low came into play through the $6 break, that was the end of the trade for me. I have to base it on technicals. Also, as you can see here, I had the had an upward trend line drawn, and you've got a decided break through that upward trend line. So I could have actually gotten out a lot earlier if I was following my rules, getting out at that 6 3/4, because you had been basically from June onward been making higher low, higher low, higher low. In fact, you also had higher high. So if I draw this, look at this. You had a nice upward channel, and then you gave up the ghost through that break over here. So the reason I got out was the $6 break was the breaking of this low. That's really all there is to that. Now, I didn't buy this because I felt it was undervalued. I didn't buy this because, you know, I thought, you know, can't go any lower from here. I was betting on a cold winter, and all we're hearing lately from meteorologists is that we're going to have an unusually warm winter. We definitely had an unusually warm summer. I'm not going to get into the politics of this, so please don't get all political, but we had one of the warmest summers on record. So if that translates into the winter, this, you know, I could see way lower lows than where we are now. So I was like, no, thank you. If we trend back up, maybe I'll be interested in getting back in. Obviously, I'll leave some money on the table for not being in at lows, but that's it. I don't really give you know what. I'm not going to sit there and watch my money collapse. So just want to point that out. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? Nabil Reni wants to look at AMC. You want to have a look at AMC?
Let's look at AMC. Just quote Sharif. Thank you for letting me pull up this guy here. I've not traded AMC in quite some time. I think since Swiftgate. No, I'm joking. I just mean the Taylor Swift movie. I don't think I've traded this one. You know, this actually, depending on how we go from here, if this does end up forming a bull flag, this could be a heck of you know, a flag pull here from this 676 to the 706 area. This would be 30-cent range here if we do have some bull flag movement. Right now, yeah, pre-market, we were kind of just jumping around here, kind of sticking pretty true, I guess, to this this range of like 680-ish to 690-ish, so very teeny tiny baby range. Then we flooped to the downside, took a nice swoop down there. And then since 955, pretty strong trend to the upside, breaking down a little bit now. Let's see if there's any news on AMC. Nothing right now. But also, another thing I want to mention is Grandma Ruby in the chat saying that DraftKings broke out of where we said it was going to break out.
All right.
So, yeah, I don't know if it had quite the swoop up that we, you know, kind of charted here. But if we go from the breakout area of this 3630, we got to about like this 3680 area. So, yeah, it was about a 50-cent window there for profit taking. Not a bad look at all for DraftKings. Also, with regards to patterns not going, how you think they're going to, and the importance of risk management, I am going to showcase my attempt at another Eli Lilly short, because this is a very, you know, I was very happy I was in the sim for this. I ate a big slice of humble pie here. Here's this short. So basically what happened was, and I think my first issue was that like I said, I accidentally, got more in here than I planned on. It was a fat finger type move, and I should have just gotten out right away when that occurred, at least with half my shares. Then this thing flew to the upside before we were even able to set stops. Like we went down for a little bit here and then we swooped up, which is, especially shocking given the move down here. I didn't even pause. We went way above my area of stop loss would have been, which probably would have been around that 570. So I just got out the second I could. Needless to say, no surprise here. I did take an L on this. I think the biggest mistake, if I go and reflect on this now, which I will, and I mean, it's interesting too, we had outsized volume here on that initial move up. If you look, we didn't really have that volume since we took that move down here, which is, I believe, when that news came out with regards to the Eli Lilly weight loss drug efficacy issues. This might be a short later on, but if I got involved in this, I would take a teeny tiny amount of shares and I would be a lot more cautious here. But yeah, the reason I'm saying this with regards to patterns is, A, we were in a downtrend all morning on Eli Lilly, and B, we did kind of have what seemed like a a bear flag type situation. It just completely went away, and then you just had to adjust your profits or adjust your mentality and get out as soon as possible.
Gotcha.
So I just wanted to bring that up here with regards to, and I appreciate you saying this earlier, that not all patterns are going to manifest how you think they will.
Yeah.
So that is why, that's what happened here, and I just wanted to bring that up because I'm here to learn.
All right, Big Adam DeLuce wants me to have a look at Amazon. He says, thoughts on Amazon, breakout mean reversion trade, enter at 145. So we're right there, essentially. This was interesting because we kind of had a little bit of a double bottom. You definitely found some support at 144. And you guys saw Obi on the morning show taking that double bottom. He went long right around that 144 area.
That's nice.
And it's been making higher highs and higher lows since that time. So we're not getting that breakout directional trade, but you are seeing a bit of a bias now where buyers are overwhelming sellers on these troughs, on these descents. Every subsequent low has been higher than the previous low, in the same way that every subsequent high has been higher than the previous high. So Adam, I would look at this as an upward channel until proven otherwise, because what you have here are clear rejections off these upper trend line and clear bounces off these lower trend lines. So until I see differently, I'm going to treat this as a mean reverting upward channel. And by that I mean, obviously, we were trading in the pre at around 146 3/4, 146 1/2, and then came the bell, and we already talked about this. We had a big move down on the Mag 7 while we had a big move up on the NQ. Somebody was asking in the chat, and I explained to them, look up stock rotation, and they should be able to kind of understand why we're having this this anomaly, phenomenon, whatever. So Adam, what I would say is look for a decided break through the upper trend line. You're not looking for wicks that breach it like this one over here. You're looking for a clear trend change. Otherwise, I'm trading this as an upward channel, getting in on the touch of the lower trend line, so long as it maintains its high above the previous low. In this case, the previous low, 144 1/4 to 144 1/3. I definitely don't want to get anything below that print. So I'd be getting in possibly here at VWAP 144.70, possibly 144 2/3 if it makes its way down there for another move back up. But assuming it doesn't make its way down to that lower trend channel, then I'm be looking for here a decided breakout trade on volume. Remember what we talked about when we talked about the breaks through key resistance levels, through chart patterns manifesting, or through break of support and resistance. You're looking for, not always the case, but what you're looking for, corresponding volume to show you that that level was important, so much so that the buyers overwhelmed the sellers despite the sellers' best efforts, and therefore you should see an outlying volume candle. It doesn't need to be the biggest volume candle of the bunch, but it should be, the bigger of the local area. Okay, I'm maybe 5, 10 before it to kind of have a comparator. To see, yes, we did have a lot of volume taking place at that particular price level, therefore that price level is important. So that's what I'm looking for there. Until this breaks out through that channel, I'm going to trade it as what's it called? An upward trend. Oleg. Well, let's go above Oleg's name here because other people were asking something. JB, what's the difference in a consolidation area on a chart and accumulation? Well, accumulation could be at a price level where you keep touching that particular price level, and you're basically not able to break through that level. Whereas consolidation is just showing you that there's an equilibrium between buyers and sellers between a certain price level. So in this particular case, let me see if I can find one here. Yeah, maybe that 192.50 on Apple, and then that 191.50, and then 192.50 at the top. Let me see. Essentially, what I'm trying to talk about is a sideways price action where you don't have any discernible peaks and troughs. Essentially, what you have is an equilibrium between buyers and sellers, where sellers are stepping in a certain level to block it, and buyers are stepping in a certain level to buoy it. So that's kind of what I mean by the consolidation area there. John Del Segno, Lyft has been launching, really has nothing in the way of it ripping another $4 to 18s. You want to have a look at Lyft?
Yeah, look at Lyft first, though. I want to look at this super chat from Lori, 199 super chat. Thank you so much. My hair is doing things. I apologize. What's up with GH and XTP? So I wasn't sure which GH you were looking at. I have, and please clarify, because there are a couple GH-ish stocks, so let me know which one. But NXTP, this one is Next Play Technologies. This one, no specific news. It's just been pretty volatile since last week, I guess, receiving a notification for not meeting the deadline to file its financial reports for several periods in 2023. So I guess, it's flying to the upside here. I would say looks like we have, honestly, sort of a bull flag moment here from 55 cents to about 90, just below 95 cents, thank you. And then if you want to measure that, that's about 40 cents from breakout. So if we were to break out, I would say we broke it here 85 cents. Then we got up to about 120. So yeah, more or less actually kind of having that breakout that was telegraphed by the measuring here of the flagpole. Math is so fun. But yeah, this is probably more of a pennant, I guess, than a flag. But yeah, still definitely an example of really in the wild, a beautiful chart pattern here. And then was it just NXTP? Lori, definitely let me know in the chat here. I see that you are in the chat. And sorry it took us a little moment here to get to your super chat. But yeah, GH, there's Guardant Health here on the NQ. I'm not sure if this is the one you were referring to. It's not crazy moving today. She said thank you, so maybe it was just the NXTP. But yeah, NXTP, a very good look there. And then here's Guardant Health, which I pulled up because I wasn't sure if this one was also being referred to. But oh yeah, okay, so no Guardant Health. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Laura. I just wasn't sure because I saw the GH in there as well. But yeah, so then we were looking at Lyft, right? That was the next one from John Del Segno. Let's look at Lyft. And while I pull this up too, I like that you mentioned volume with regards to breakout, because I think that's what happened too with that Eli Lilly breaking to the upside and strong volume. Yeah, it is really like, you can see also volume. Speaking of volume, Lyft and volume have been crazy. But yeah, we had this. This is an interesting one. I mean, definitely kind of moving to the high side. And this VWAP, not all indicators are going to be respecting, all stocks respecting all indicators at all times. But in this case, I mean, I think VWAP has been kind of an interesting point here for Lyft. We touched VWAP at 10:30, just a swoop, bounce right off. Very much the same idea with this when we hit 1376 here around 11:30. So I would say VWAP is, I would say Lyft is respecting VWAP, because we talk about stocks respecting indicators or not respecting indicators. I would say Lyft is very much respecting VWAP right now. Generally an upward trend though, for sure. I would be curious to see if we can break this higher high of this 14.1-ish on the day, because we've been kind of scared away from that area. But yeah, I think very much a stock in play to the upside. I thought I saw something about a price target upgrade on this one this morning. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to look into this. Yeah, Lyft. Is Lyft getting a lift from the analysts? An analyst.
Hold on. I don't see one for upgrades. Let me look for price targeting.
I think it might be price target is what I saw, but I could also be wrong.
I don't see it, but I could be wrong. So check, because this sometimes doesn't have all of them.
Yeah, I know.
For whatever reason.
I thought I saw it, but I could be,
You don't want to check your Benzinga?
Yeah, I didn't see it on Benzinga. I don't know where I thought I saw it here. But yeah, so if I am, I'll find out. We'll find out. But basically, yeah, Short Smeller Pandera is back. I'm always here. I've never left. But yeah, no, I think we look like we really could break above that 14.1, in which case I would say Lyft is here to stay, getting another boost up, getting another lift up here, up about 6%. really good look on lift. Thank you, John Del Sagno, for bringing this one to our attention, because yeah, not a bad look and definitely an example of something respecting VWAP.
We're rocketing up, man. I can't believe we are making this type of move on AVGO. AVGO is the gift that keeps on giving. We're at $1,022 and a third. And in case you're wondering what this green trend line is, that it's been holding like basically the entire morning. Even on this pullback over here, it pulled into the 7 EMA. You guys know, if you've been watching the show, I don't use the 7 EMA on these larger caps. It is more of an indicator for the small cap gappers, but I would be remiss if I didn't point out the convergence between the 7 EMA and the price action on AVGO. It just made a newer high of day, 102.59, so it's getting into that 102 and 2/3, now retracing back 102, 122, 1,022, and just like that, it dropped $2. So expensive and volatile is a stock, but it almost amounts to nothing percentage-wise. We're well above 8% right now on AVGO. I got out at 1,008, so that just gives you an idea of how this one is continuing to go. The other thing I want to talk about here is the NQ. We got through that 16.4. Guys, before I continue my chat on the NQ, we are now using the March 15th contract, okay? We've moved on from the December 15th contract, or 19th or whatever the hell it was, to the March 15th, 2024 contract. The reason that's important is because the levels will be different, the number-wise, okay? So I'm talking about 16,400 here. And if you look at the December contract, we're not close to that. So 16,400 has been in play all morning. We broke above it. We double topped at 16,412. We rejected immediately upon breaking that one symphony of lower candles, finding support, lo and behold, at VWAP. So nice that it's playing, it's factoring into today's analysis. But here we go. We're now knocking on the door again of 16.4. And you know how I like to trade these 100-point levels. I'm watching to see, do we take the level decisively, or do we have one of those cases where we wick above the level, print above it, and then retrace, having the closing print or the majority of the closing prints below that 16.4 area. If that's the case, if we start trending and consolidating at 16.4, wicking above it but closing below it, I will be looking short the market. However, if we decisively take 16.4 by clearing it, I'm going to be looking for a dip trade to come back into 16.4 as a long to see if it can act as a level of support. So we're watching this unfold in real time right now at a critical level. These 100-point levels are always important for me on the future. So I'm keeping my eye about what we do here at 16.4 on the NQ. Very, very unusual day for the NQ in the sense that it is decidedly positive, up 0.56, all the while all the Mag 7 names are all in the red. You know, I would even point out the fact that NVIDIA is in the red as well. And the reason that's important is because NVIDIA is in the Mag 7, but it's also in chips. And chips are all strong, save and except for ARM, NVIDIA, and SMCI. And we know those have been running up quite aggressively as of late. So looking to possibly give back some profits here. 16.4 coming into play on the NQ. Very important level for me, and keep an eye on it. All right, let's get back to these chart patterns here and talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
I don't know how to say this person's name. DX, NYD, and then Dixandy Lion? I don't know. Sorry, I hope I didn't butcher it.
Dandelion?
Is it Dandy? Because DX, it is Dandy.
It could be
yeah,
Dandelion,
I think
but
it
like
is
in the
Dandelion.
fancy art way.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Let's have a look at Mara.
Yes.
Let's go look at what Mara is doing on the day. Obviously, the group of crypto in general were down. So Mara is down 12.4%. It's been down and to the right for this bad boy. This is the 5-minute look here on Mara. Here's what I'd say. You made a big move down. You got, a quick bounce back up. you were looking for the break of this $15 level as confirmation that we would break down. That's what I'd say. And then when you did break down, look where you came back in. You came, the retracement north came back into that critical resistance level that you found as support earlier. So I like when this area and this area switch positions, whereas previously resistance, it's previously support, now it acts as resistance. Does it do it a third time though? Or a second time, pardon me, below 14.6. So I would say the more times it sets up that way, the lesser the chances are of it actually manifesting, because then you get a little bit extended to the downside. So Mara, not a good look. Personally, I'd be looking more for a bounce at these particular levels, but that's not my style of trading. I don't take counter trend trades, but I wouldn't be looking for more south side action here on Mara. I feel like it might be extended at 2 1/3, 12 1/3, 12.5%. That's just my look. I would definitely want something above 15 on a closing basis to take this north, but that doesn't look like it might happen on the day. So now, how would I trade this? If I was to get in at 15 on a break of 15, my stop would be the making of a new low. So if we were to stop here at 14 2/3 as the higher low, I would be basing my stop on the lower end of this trough, assuming this area over here makes a trough and we trend into 15, okay? Wait for 15 on a closing basis, then place my stop at 14 2/3, looking for a possible move back into the closing print on the day. But this is not one that I would trade, so I already feel funny opining on it. W buy, squeeze level, says Oleg. Let's have a look at W buy. WBUI.
Do we buy or do we sell?
Right.
Find out.
We buy global, $66 million market cap. The float is 16.2 million. It's up on the day 10.15%. I don't see any catalyst for it on the day, but what I do see is stuff from the 7th, a whole bunch of entries from the 7th. And here's a look. Press release, We Buy Global Limited reports 62% increase in revenue to 24.4 million for the first half. So it looks like it's an earnings play. Let's have a look at what the hourly looks like. So this was the 6th over here. So we sold off after earnings, sadly. You can tell we're very consolidated here at that $6 level for quite some time.
Ooh, yeah, that was tight.
Yeah, we spike up to 14.5 on an algo spike. I don't know if it sold off after the earnings call or what, but we've been making lower lows. It looks like it found some support at that $1 level. So it did hold the $1 level, important level for it. The other area that I'm looking at here is that $1.33. We seem to have created a bit of a base at that $1.33. We're at $1.25 now. So I'd be looking at $1.33 possibly as resistance. But what did you want to know, Oleg? What was your specific questions? Squeeze levels? Well, I don't know. I don't know, depends on how many people shorted at around these levels. It looks like people were, I don't know, selling on this one. I don't know if it was short so much as selling your position because it was consolidating at $6 for so long. Look how this long period of consolidation at $6, give or take. So not really sure what to make of this. In any event, looks like 6 1/3, 640 area. That's going to be resistance. We're a little bit off that at the moment at 1 1/4. Sorry, 6 1/3. 1 1/3 and 1 1/4. I'm looking for resistance at 1 1/3 there.
Yeah, I just kind of charted on the 5-minute. There's a nice little ascending upward channel here. And as we were kind of talking about, if you want to get in here, if you're going to get in for a long, kind of see what we do at that 123 area. And then, I mean, to be fair, also, this is kind of more of like a 3-cent like kind of scalp just by the nature of how penny stocks move. But yeah, we did have a bit of a volume spike here at 12.05. Looks like we've died down a little bit as far as volume is concerned. Definitely an upward channel here on We Buy. Looks like We Buy right now and not We Sell. But yeah, not a bad look here at all. Also a firm low of day. Shout out to Renata in the chat and also some other people mentioning a firm, but I just saw her name first. A firm. Why can I not type? Here's a firm. Ooh. Okay, so a firm, yeah, giant. Honestly, I would say maybe a bit of a bear flag here. We did fly to the downside, and then we saw a little bit of accumulation here. And then we flew, or I guess consolidation here. Then we flew back to the downside. We'll have to see if this actually materializes. But yeah, down about 6% right now. Was there a catalyst on Affirm to affirm this move? Yeah, there's nothing here. I'm so sorry. I'm the worst.
Joker.
Yeah, I am a troll
funny.
with the pun. Well, thank you. I mean, I think they're just kind of weird. But yeah, Affirm. Also, Kate, Clint S mentioning Enphase, which I will pull up because bye-bye Enphase said the NQ 500, or 100, sorry. The NASDAQ 100 said bye-bye to Enphase. Enphase actually, though, kind of does not seem to care. We had a really nice double bottom here. Then we swooped up. Honestly, yeah, Enphase looking a skosh. Maybe I'm just seeing patterns that aren't there because we're doing patterns, but I'm almost kind of seeing a bit of a bull pennant here a little bit, because we went from 99.80 to about 104.60, so that's a little bit less than $5 worth of movement. Then we saw this pennant, then we broke up here from this 102.2 area. So I mean, maybe I can't tell if this is actually what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
We also had a nice double bottom here too, though. There's a couple bullish themes going on in this chart. Yeah, sorry, yeah, double bottom, yeah, and then higher lows as well, which is, yeah, I think it's an interesting look for sure. So thank you for pulling that one up, Clint S. Yeah, I think if you chart, if you are looking at it as potentially a bull flag and you chart it here, I think, yeah, it's very interesting.
It's also noteworthy that this is being taken out of the NASDAQ 100. So typically that's a bit of a bearish event, but in this case, it's running up 1 2/3. So how can you got to trade the price action?
Yeah.
But it's good to have in the back of your mind, guys.
Yeah, well, I think, and that's why I initially was interested when I saw this one with Clint in the chat, and I pulled it up because I was curious, because I assumed we would kind of maybe be headed to the downside because of what you just said, that NASDAQ 100 saying bye-bye to Enphase.
Right.
But I guess Enphase was like, yeah, no, bye-bye to you, NQ 100, and really nice bullish look here, honestly. Yeah.
All right, guys, we are brought to you by Benzinga. Use the link in the description for Benzinga's greatest deal of the year, including 75% off Benzinga Pro. Monthly subscriptions now as low as $49.25 a month. The everything terminal for retail traders. Visit pro.benzinga.com and use the coupon code TTVNOV. That's TTVNOV for November. Hopefully we'll update that real soon to save 75% off now. New subscribers only, and conditions do apply. And I have to do my little little rant. Adira uses Benzinga all the time to make the watch list, help find what's moving in the moment.
Yeah, here's
and there
Mr. Powell, and then I also I have as well Benzinga Pro pulled up here because you can never go wrong with two Benzingas pulled up. Yeah, here's Mr. Powell. Everyone's waiting, like, what will he say? Will he talk to teachers today? Will he tell people to close the door? What will occur? But yeah, there he is here on Benzinga. That is my favorite quote of all time, the close the door thing. So I will mention it every time I see the man's face. But yeah, Benzinga is great, and legitimately I do use it all the time for news.
Absolutely.
So yeah, shout out to Benzinga.
Yes, ma'am. Quickly here, $5 super chat from Jokey. What are your thoughts on Lemonade, LMND? Now that there's less people buying houses and there's more renting, some feedback before going long. Absolutely. Let's have a look at LMND. Not one that I've traded in a while. It was more of like a pandemic darling, LM.
I love the way you worded that, like an Oscar darling, pandemic darling.
Right. Well, it looks like a bull flag. Thankfully, this actually was easy work over here, at least on the 1 minute.
Yeah.
LMND. Let's have a look. Okay. Well, before I say anything, I'm going to zoom out first to find out what the current trend is. Well, we've been making higher lows. That's for dang sure since November onwards. Let's zoom out a bit more. Let's go the hourly. Okay. So definitely, it was the November to remember for Lemonade. Yeah, because, well, we really started getting going here. Look at the outlying volume on the bottom of the chart there. This really stands out for months at a time on that November, what was it, November 2nd and November 3rd. Both days were very high volume days, and they made higher local highs. Since that time, though, higher low, higher low, higher low, with, you know, not as many higher highs, but higher highs nonetheless, coming into that 19 3/4, $19.50 area. So the local trend is up. So keeping that in mind, that the recent price action has been bullish. Now, I just want to do one more quick zoom out to figure out where I could encounter resistance, because we are at those levels where we need to look farther out for resistance. So I'm looking at that $21, 21 and a quarter to 21. This peak over here, that takes us back into June, into mid-June, where the next resistance level is. That's a little bit above the breakout point of this channel over here, which is at $20. So let's look on the day. Yeah, it's definitely a good looking chart on the day. I would say, because we don't have anything since June to base it off, let's see, no, that's not correct. So we do have right over here. So today's price action, 1847 high. $19 would be my price target. That's based on the price action of December 4th and December 5th, where it was that $19 area that we retraced off on both occasions. And even going back to November 29th, we decidedly broke that $19 area. But look, if I was to zoom back and look a little bit closer at this print, look at that. It was a quick breach of 19, and then you had closing prints south of 19. So I would go ahead and say 19, definitely an important resistance level, at least locally, that we have to break through before we continue the upward trend into that 21 area from back in June. But great look right now on Lemonade on the day. Looks like a bull flag continuation. I'd be looking to get in off a dip on this lower trend line over here. So currently I'd look to get in at around 1840 or so. But, you know, you're going to have to do it with size, because we really haven't moved that much notionally on the day, right? We have a closing print on Friday of 1782, and we're at 1847, so we haven't moved a dollar, right? But it's a good look recently for LMND. I personally would be more interested in a swing trade than I would be on an intraday trade, but that's just my style.
That's a nice volume candle there too.
Big.
With what I've been paying a lot more attention to volume since what you said with regards to the importance of volume really clarifying a move.
No
and I
doubt
think
about
with
it.
that in mind, I really like, A, we do have, you know, the forming of the bull flag, and B, it's bolstered by the swoop volume there on LMND. So yeah, not just a great Beyonce album, but also a very interesting chart right now. Yeah.
That's awesome. I like how you threw that in there. All right, guys, NQ, we took that 16.4 level again. We got into 16, what was that high of that? Let me tell you in 1 second. 16.411 on this last attempt. That's off the highs of 16.412 3/4. So what I'm looking for here is how we trade at 16.4. Are we going to break down right below 16.4, or are we going to use 16.4 now as a level of support? And, you know, initially, obviously, here at around 10:50 or so in the morning, when we made it, or sorry, yeah, 10:50, not 10:50, 9:50 or so in the morning, we breached this level at 16.4, and then we immediately retraced and bounced off VWAP at 16.340 and change, but we touched it a second time. Is it going to be another resistance point, or are we going to claim that this time as a support level? So I'm not going to jump into this one too quickly. Let's see how it trades at 16.4. Let's give it some more time, maybe another 10 minutes or so to develop some price action around that 16.4 level before jumping in. But we're trying to talk about entries and exits with respect to chart patterns and channels on the day. So if you're looking at any particular equity or whatever, any instrument in general that you see an upward channel that you want to discuss, or a particular chart pattern, whether they're ascending wedges, bull flags, heads and shoulders, whatever you want, throw it in the chat. Adair and I will look at it for you. We'll discuss it, whether number one, we feel it is that particular pattern, and number two, if it is, what our entries and exits would be on it. So tag us in the chat, and we will be happy to oblige. There.
Yeah, Shinobi mentioning Meta here. What would be a good point of, is there a good entry on Meta? Or where is a good entry on Meta? I think maybe for myself, the better question might be, is there a good entry on Meta? Because I have to say this one has been testing my mental patience, me trying to analyze this stock, and not just from Shinobi saying this, from earlier today as well. This one, we had nice pre-market consolidation here around this 34 331.50 area. Then we had a swoop down. Yeah, swoop is right. Swoop, there it is. To about 323 here. Then we had, skosh movement upwards. It looked like we could have maybe had a flight pattern. Then I would argue we kind of more had downward channel movement. So then we went from about 325 to 321. So that was a $4 movement to the downside. Then we tried to have another recovery here up to 322. And now we've been consolidating here almost in a roundy face. Shout out to Sharif, a roundy face-esque movement here. So I would say, like, if we can kind of have a nice roundy face recovery, I would maybe be interested in this if we get to 322.50. We break above 322.50. I could be intrigued by a long. It could make me get out of bed in the morning. I could be interested.
I like that.
Thank you. In the meantime, though, right now, honestly, just looks very chop and churnish. And if we don't have a decisive break in either direction from this 321, I have to tell you right now, Shinobi, I am a little bit meh about the whole proceeding. I would say with Meta, I would just be very careful with regards to entries and exits. I think it was a beautiful short earlier. Now I think Meta's maybe making a pullback and kind of waiting to see how it's feeling today. I think he's maybe a little bit confused about how it's feeling. But 322.50, I do not dislike if we get to that area for a long. If we break below that where we have kind of this accumulation here, this consolidation around this 321-ish area, a little bit below that, could be interesting as a short. Right now, though, I'm going to keep my eye on it. If I see anything big, I will post it up. But right now, not seeing too much here. Also on BlackBerry. Hello, I see a bull flag on Mongo, DB 5-minute weekly.
Mumbo number 5?
Mongo number 5. There, I appreciated that. Thank you very much.
That was out of your playbook there. But
yeah, that was. But I'm not going to say no to Mongo number 5. A little bit of stock. Okay, that did not work. And a cup without handle on the 1 hour / monthly. Okay, what is the ticker for this BlackBerry? Because I am not sure what the ticker is. Please let me know what the ticker is here. Is it, people are mentioning MDB. It might be MDB. It is MDB. I apologize. Yeah. Redacted, it is MDB. So, yeah, okay. This is on, let me remember what time frame we are looking at here. Bull flag on 5-minute and the weekly. Okay, yeah, bull flag on the 5-minute. I mean, sort of. I think we almost had the setup. I'm not sure it really came to fruition, but definitely bullish. We're up about 5% on the day. Higher lows for sure. Higher highs. I would be careful to see if we don't break below this 400, this 399.80 area. The reason I say I'm not sure if it's a bull flag is because we kind of, I would say it's more kind of like we had sort of the forming of an upward channel here, because that breakout would not really be what would kind of be measured here, right? So we would have this breakout from like, what, 388-ish to about 401-ish. Yeah, it's a great looking chart. I'm just not sure if it's a bear flag to kind of answer BlackBerry's question here. And then also they said that a bear flag on the weekly.
Flag, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, I meant a bull flag, yeah. I did mean a bull flag. I apologize there. And then, yeah, weekly, I'll do the 5. Someone taught me this 5. I think it was Super SPAC Man teaching me that the weekly is also a 5-day chart. So here we are. Here's the 5-day. Yeah, I'm seeing that's a beautiful bull flag on that, on the 5-day, on the week here there. Thank you very much, BlackBerry. And then also a cup without handle on the 1 hour and the monthly. Let's look at I'll pull up the monthly.
Interesting.
Yeah, I appreciate, we love seeing patterns in the wild.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure I'm seeing the cup and handle here. I've got to say on the month. I'll pull up the 1 hour chart here. But yeah, I mean, it definitely, like I said in general, I think we've got bullish vibes here on the MDB for sure. I'm not sure if I'm really seeing, I see it's a very protracted. If we do have a monthly one here, it's a very teeny tiny monthly cup with handle. But yeah, we definitely had that roundy face movement to the upside. I will tell you that for free. But that was a beautiful bull flag here. Also, Tony Price, Jeremiah was a bull flag. Slow clap. That's beautiful. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. I have to shout that out. But yeah, thank you, thank you, Tony Price. But yeah, I think that's a beautiful bull flag there on the 5-minute on MDB, especially on the weekly, but on the 5-minute, definitely still a gorgeous swoop to the upside. Yeah, there we go.
I think Chris wanted me to look at Oracle. Look, what I see here is an upward channel on Oracle, ORCL. Let's put in the ticker. says there is earnings as well on this bad boy. So let me just change this, ORCL, so I can see the percentage up on the day. What are we at? 1.22%, so 1.25. Again, nothing, look, not every chart manifestation is going to be a pattern of some sort. A lot of them are just going to be trends, and trends sometimes, a lot of the times, will kind of present themselves as channels, either up or down. In this particular case, we already know we're up 1.25%. This downward channel is holding like a T, save and except for these wicks, but you know how I feel about closing prints relative to wicks, and so it's a good look so far. There is room from the current price action at 115 to trend to the upper end of this channel, which is around 115.5. So Oracle, a good look. I forget when they're reporting earnings. We'll have to look at that in a second, but good look on Oracle. Ideally, obviously, you want to get it on the lower end of the lower trend line, which is currently around that 144.80. But yeah, you definitely haven't missed your chance. All right, I wet my beak now on the first out here on the MNQ as we hold. Looks like we're going to hold 16.4. We've cleared it. We've made a new high a day. We came back into 16.4. We did find a bounce off that level in the same way that we didn't do initially. It was a V-shaped Christmas tree retracement on the future initially when we broke 16.4. It doesn't look like it's happening right now, but you know, you don't want to get ahead of yourself here and start making pronouncements, but it doesn't look like it's unfolding in the same way as we did initially here on the first break of 16.4. So there we go. I got in at 16.404. Yeah, there 16.404 3/4. Wet my beak there at 13. We'll see if we get a nice move back into 17.25. We know 17.25 is the high of day. Chris says it's after the bell today. Let's look at what's expected. So little trick for you guys. What I do is I go to Market Chameleon. Market Chameleon, really good to use for those interested in the options activity for Oracle and what to expect in terms of the move. So we know the options activity is outlying. You can just compare that to the rest of them. So decent amount of options activity, but you know, obviously not like something like the Mag 7. Those would be in the millions or the hundreds of thousands. I'm talking about the options volume. And then looking here at the previous move. So this tanked 13.5% on the last earnings. What's expected this time, and this is based on the options market, is a plus or minus 6.1% move. So you do your math from the current price action to where we could be 6.1% plus or minus. This gives you an idea about what kind of volatility to expect on the name from earnings. I don't know what the cutoff point is. What do I mean by that? So we know that last time they said it tanked 13.5%. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's the closing print at 4 o'clock, and then where we end up, I don't know, either the next day of the opening print or at 8 o'clock that we're down 13.5%. I don't know what the cutoff point is for that amount. If anybody knows in the chat, I'd love to know, because I personally don't know how they measure this, the previous move. Let's see if they say anything if I hover over it. No, it doesn't. So I don't know exactly what they mean by that. And in case you guys are wondering what the hell I'm talking about, so this is a 13, come to the chart, right? 13.5%. So we know that the final print for an equity, the actual official print is that 4 o'clock print. And then it trades into 8 p.m. But all that is aftermarket and unofficial, okay? So this is going to be down 13.5% from that 4 o'clock closing print. What I don't know is what is the cutoff point for that 13.5. Is it 8 o'clock that night? Is it the 4 a.m. print the next day? Or is it the opening print the following day at 9:30? Something tells me it's probably the opening print the following day at 9:30 and the variance between the closing print and the opening print. I think that's probably what it is. Neil, do you happen to know? So when, you know, Market Chameleon, it gives you that expected move for earnings, what they're going to be plus or minus based on the options volume, right? And then it shows you the previous occasion. Have a look at, show him the screen, Ram, so he can follow along. So the previous move, it said Oracle tanked off earnings 13.5%. So my question is where is the cutoff for that 13.5%? So we know it's tanking off the 4 o'clock print. Sure, but the next day, is it the 9 a.m., 9:30 print on the bell that's measured? So if you say closed at 1:17, 4 p.m. today, and you open up 1:02 tomorrow at 9:30 a.m., is that the cutoff level for the 13? You see what I'm saying? That's what, so that you're in agreement with me. Yeah, okay. That's what I'm thinking as well. It's probably the following day at 13 at 9:30. That's probably the cutoff for that. But yeah, that's what I use, guys. It's a good resource to have. It's free, by the way, and gives you an idea of what to expect for earnings. Also, I want to give you another little tidbit here. There's something called earnings whispers.
I love this one. Yeah.
And the reason it's important is because it tells you what time to expect the actual earnings play. So if we go to calendar, any day, and then we go today, there we go. We can expect Oracle to report at 4:05 p.m. And what I know from experience is that you're going to have these reports in increments of 5 minutes. So you got something at 4, 4:05, 4:10, 4:15, etc. So Oracle expected today 5 minutes after the close at 4:05, and Earnings Whisper helps you narrow that down. You can obviously do your own homework and go and look at what the previous release time was on the chart, but kind of saves you some time there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really helpful. Also, my little level that I mentioned on Meta with regards to that 322 smiley face, roundy face, choose your phrase here, pick your poison, has come into fruition. I do not think I'm going to get a bid here because I want to get in around that 322.60 area, and I suspect the train may have left the station with me, crying and being left behind. But I mean, like, really good luck here.
No one left you behind.
Well, thank you. I mean, Meta has, but I appreciate that. That's very nice. But yeah, this is it's not a bad look at all here. Like I said, I wanted to see a higher high, and we did get that, the smiley face coming to fruition here. We've made a higher high. I do not think I will be, on this trade with Meta, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna, we're not gonna cry over spilt milk here. But I think after that Eli Lilly trade, I'm just trying to be very cautious with regards to no fat finger trades, very teeny tiny share sizes, and triple checking to make sure there are no typos before one presses enter. But yeah, with that in mind, I like the concept of this Meta long here. Should it be realized here by me, I think either way, the stock, we did break that 322.50 to the upside. We're seeing a higher high. Looks like we're going to break 323. Just wanted to give a quick update on this one. Also, lots of mentions of NEO, so I'm just going to pull up NEO quickly as well. Ooh, okay. Yeah, NEO is, we definitely, this one was moving pre-market too. NEO Xpeng as well, pre-market. Li Auto, unfortunately, was not doing that much pre-market. But,
it never does, really.
But yeah, it's not. It doesn't. I feel like it doesn't move that much pre-market.
No, it doesn't.
But yeah, no, I'm not seeing any news on NEO according to my trusty friend Benzinga. But yeah, we had like a nice little from about 10:40 to about 11:55 here. Really nice flat channel. Broke to the upside, swoop up. Now we're pulling back a little bit. We'll see what we do with this EMA. This could be a short for me if we break the EMA, but I think it's a good look either way. 17 mil volume, not too shabby. And a nice, if I'm looking at my volume candle here, we had a nice little, we're seeing some decent volume here in that swoop to the downside, that initial move down. So yeah, not a bad look on NEO. Definitely have my eyes on NEO and Meta right now.
All right, I'm trying to find some patterns here, guys, so that we could use it. I'm looking here, and it's telling me that we're getting, so I chose intraday so that the patterns that I'm looking at are intraday patterns. Let's see, it's telling you Humana, HUM possibly. Let's have a look at that. I mean, I don't know how accurate this thing is, so we're gonna check it in the wild live at the moment. It's telling me a bear flag. What bear flag? What? Oh, okay, I see on the 5 minute.
Oh, that is that, and then a flat channel.
Yes. Woo. So this one, it's detecting it as a bear flag. The thing is, though, I don't necessarily agree that all the patterns that look like bull flags and bear flags are going to actually manifest into bull flags and bear flags. What we have here is a big move down and then a consolidation sideways, with 470 being that support level, and it looks like at least to the top 474. So it's interesting here that we see this, because what I was trying to say to Adara earlier is that I don't necessarily agree, that everything that we look at is an actual pattern. Sometimes we see what we want to see. Sometimes, no patterns are going to manifest. It's just going to be sporadic price action, and that's totally normal, okay? Not everything has to manifest into a pattern. So right now, we got a big move down in what looked like possibly a bear flag on Humana. I would have to disagree with the computer, which is the one that detected it for me, and say that this is just a big move down and then a sideways consolidation. You already have 2 touches at the bottom and 3 at the top if we reverse off here at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see what this one does, but it's a hell of a looker so far, possibly here for a bear flag. The other one is telling me to look at. Let's see what else it's suggesting here, Adara. Anything cool, or are all these like nerdy?
Nerdy.
Yeah, no, I don't
You're
like
shaving
them.
the stocks, the nerdy stocks.
Imperial Oil, IMO. Okay, Imperial Oil, a bigger one. We can try to use that. Let's see what IMO is on New York. Isn't Imperial Oil IMO? Did I type it wrong? IMO?
I think it's on Amex. I'm
Imperial
finding
Oil
it.
is on Amex, eh? It is, you're right. Okay, good call.
Thank you.
So IMO, here we go. This is the 5-minute look on IMO. Again, a big move down, then some sideways consolidation. I don't agree. This thing sucks. It's not very good, I gotta tell you the truth, in terms of detecting patterns.
It's too bad it didn't help you in the wild. I thought it would be more helpful in the wild.
Yeah, well, it sucks. All right, we just took another beak wetter here as we move up on the future. We are pumping up on the futures, guys. 16,419. It looks like we have claimed that 16.4 for now. We have made a new high. We dipped into 16.4. We bounced off it. There was an initial whoa, 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 whoa. What's the market's tanking? Wait, bro.
Bond auction.
Bond auction. This is what happens when I don't do my homework. This is literally what happens. I wasn't ready for the bond auction. Look, we moved down and now we're pumping right back up. So this is a lot of volatility right now. We're gonna have to wait and see how this ends up, but I want to know what the hell I missed.
Moving back to the upside now.
Yeah, but it's still very concerning. So let's see here. We're doing well, but we definitely got that moment of volatility that dropped my stomach to my feet here. All right, guys, I just want to tell you quickly about the auction. Let's go into the calendar. All right, 1 o'clock. We had the 10-year note. Very important, obviously. Very, very important, the 10-year note. So it looks like it was met well here. We're going to put another beak wetter at the quarter point, quarter dollar. I haven't gotten yet the, oh, I do actually. Okay, so the previous yield on the 10-year note was 4.519. This time around, we got a 4.296. I've talked to you about this before, but I'll say it again. The lower the yield, the higher the demand for the actual Treasury bill. The higher the yield, the lower the demand for the actual Treasury bill. So when we have higher demand for Treasuries, it usually is bullish for equity. Look at the futures. Here we go, baby. Pumping to the high side. We're clearing that level by about 30 points now. So we'll see if we get that continuity, but that 16.4 absolutely held. What were you talking about, Obi? What did you want to say? The Kenobi, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say it. The Kenobi was
He's just trying to help.
Yeah, he is. He's a good dude. Obi, you're killing me, bro. The Kenobi wanted to tell you guys 16,420 reject. But, you know, we already 16,428.75. So hopefully not. He could be right, though. Who knows, right? Nice move. You think so? He said you're going to get higher off that 420.
And we get much higher.
You didn't get it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's
Higher
even better.
off 420.
Yeah,
Adara.
That's brilliant.
That's like right up your alley.
That
Look at him. Look at him. So happy with himself over there.
Obi already won like the theorized pun bet between us for that one alone. Like
Yes.
that's amazing. Both of you killed it. I was asleep behind the wheel.
It was him killing it.
Yeah.
It was me like
Relaying
just arguing with him, but
Obi,
I didn't
that
get
is
it.
beautiful. I took an L on that. And yeah, you know, that's a solid pun though, and that's an interesting level for the NQ as well.
Yep.
Ooh, the Bears versus Bulls. The puns are strong with this one. Indeed, yeah, Obi killed it there for
Obi
sure.
always killing it, baby.
Yes.
The Kenobi one. Killing it on the ones and twos. New dude booty. All right, guys, we are absolutely pumping to the high side here. I've got my next beak wetter at 35s. We do have a 16.4. You know, it held 16.4, no question about it. So we'll have to see how high we can get off this. Or, yeah, I don't mean to make it sound like a pun. In case you're wondering what's going on with these market, we just had a 10-year note auction, guys. It was met with more exuberance than last time around. Again, I want to repeat the previous yield off the 10-year note auction, 4.519. This time around, 4.296. The higher the yield, the lower the demand. The lower the yield, the higher the demand, and more bullish for equities. So we are moving up nicely now, 0.75% on the NQ to the high side of Darrow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, also Shay White, shout out in the chat. Kanye, so higher. Yeah, that's where my brain went.
Like,
can you get much higher?
So high. Oh, oh, oh.
Because we're always singing that here, and so that's where I thought we were going with that.
We're going to lose like 500 viewers right now on the chat. They'll all be like, oh, I'm out of
Why
here, bro.
are
I'm
they
not
singing?
even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we try. Also, TRBH31, this Macy's short is clutch and more to come. I don't know if that was a pun with like a clutch, like a handbag from Macy's, but I'm going to assume it was because I love that. Yeah, Macy's is interesting here. We did fall off that 21.1 area, swooping, kind of swoop to the downside here. I could be interested in this short, but I want to wait and see what we do at this 2080 area. And the reason I say that is look how strong we were dancing around this level. We were dancing around this level from like 2070 to like 2060 for like from about 1035 to about 12:10. So that's about an hour and a half worth of consolidation and then a nice swoop to the upside. I shall see how I feel, but I would like to wait and see what we do at this area of consolidation. Another stock I'm watching for a particular area with regards to my next move is Meta. So the beautiful Meta, plane to the upside. I was going to say train, but we were flying here on Meta. To the upside did leave without me on board. However, I am watching this 324.5 area because we definitely, we had some kind of struggles at this area earlier, right? So I want to wait and see what we do here. I could be enticed. I could be intrigued. I'm not going to, wait. I'm not going to be too hasty on this. I want to wait and see. I'm also keeping my eye on Eli Lilly, but obviously we're not moving a muscle on this until I have confirmation. Because it looks like, honestly, Eli Lilly might want to move to the upside here, but I'm not, clearly she moved to the upside without me earlier this morning because this looked like a solid short. It kind of been a short all day. We went a little bit lower and then we swooped to the upside on actually decent volume here too, if you see this volume candle. But yeah, for now, I mean, if we break 580, it could be enticing to the upside. But right now, I will completely reserve all judgment until I see strong volume, strong technical cues. I do not want to get caught up in the hustle again here. If anybody else is seeing any other, chart patterns in the wild they would like to address, please let me know. Also, I'm just noticing on my side chart, I have this in the 3 minutes, so we'll see if this is in the 5 minute as well. Yeah, NVIDIA kind of trying to break out of a little bit of chop and churn here from about 12:30 to 1-ish, just kind of swooping up and down here within this, what is this, like? Pretty tight range, but yeah, we might be swooping to the upside here. I would be interested, but also if you look, this level seems to be kind of key for NVIDIA in that it likes to take its sweet time once we hit just below that 463, because we had a little bit of chop and turn around here. We had some chop and turn again when we hit that level again, so I think it will be one I want to watch. NVIDIA and 463 seem to be pretty close here. Also, Fee Rhymes with AMC, midday karaoke, my favorite. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it. Good times. Also, a couple people mentioning Tesla here, so I will pull up Tesla. Tesla taking like a little stroll to the upside, a little hike. Slow and steady wins the race. We'll see if it's the tortoise or the hare. I will be watching though Tesla because we're kind of near that level, that 239.63, where earlier today we had a skosh of a stumble. We went floop to the upside and then back floop to the downside here, and then we fully fell off the grid at this, I guess my hiking metaphor stuck, I don't know. But this 239.70 area definitely of note to me at Tesla, and we're approaching it right now. I know I'm not in any trades right now. I don't want to be rushing in here. You know, to quote the Spice Girls, I don't want to be too hasty here because that Eli Lilly short burned my little hands. So we're gonna, you know, try to keep the hands off the wheel for now until I see something really intriguing. Being patient. There we go. Yeah.
All right, guys. What we are talking about today are entries and exits based upon chart patterns and upon channels. So it's hard for us to be able to trade and look for these patterns, but they're like a lot more eyes are better than just 4 or 2 pairs over here. If you see a chart pattern like a bull flag, a bear flag, an ascending wedge, a descending wedge, or even a channel of sorts, put it in the chat. On a particular name, we'd love to have a look at it, and if it's the actual pattern, we're going to talk about how to get in, how to get out, where your stop should be, where your profit taker should be on that. So put that in the chat, tag me, tag Adara, or otherwise it'll be hard for us to see it because there's just so many other messages coming in, so we don't really know which ones are directed at us. Tag us in the chat. We're talking about chart patterns, entries and exits, channels, entries and exits today. We've shown you a bunch already, whether they've been bull or bear flags. We've talked about ascending wedges. We've talked about it heads and shoulders today, how you would get in, get out. Yeah, so let's keep that kind of thing going and talk more about that. I'm going to wait for the chat to populate there with some tags. Otherwise, I'll just talk about this futures position here. Woo. Looks like we're rejecting at least, or coming down a little bit off that 16,434.75. That is the high of day. We're back now in the 16,420. That area that Obi was theorizing we would all get high off. 420, get high, get in, you know, in case you haven't gotten it yet, you should be getting it now. Right now. So let's have a look at that. Mara says Thomas Roberts. I think we already looked at Mara earlier, did
Mara,
we not?
We've had some eyes on Mara.
We've had some eyes. We'll have another quick glance here at MARA, see what's up with Mara. It takes a while for Mara to load up on my platform for some reason. I think it's one of those bugs. All right, so Mara. You definitely had a bit of a bull flag, a bear flag, pardon me, earlier on. But since, you know, it's kind of been very obviously a downward channel. So I don't want to say this is obviously a bull flag, a bear flag, pardon me, just because it had this one down move and a bit of a consolidation sideways. This is definitely a downward channel, but it is what we're talking about. So let's talk about how we would get in and get out of this trade. Very simple. It's simple on paper, a lot harder to execute in real life. So say this is the big move down, and then we come back up here. We don't really know we have a channel yet, right? Like imagine, you know, hiding everything from here on in. So if I was to hide this price action from you, and I'll just only show you this, you don't know you have a downward channel so far, okay? All you know is you have a big move down and you're bouncing back up. But now, we've clearly made that downward channel because recall, for a channel to take place, we need 4 points of contact. 2 points of contact at the bottom, 2 points of contact at the top, okay? From peak to peak, trough to trough. That's what we're looking for. So we got that here. So how do I get in? Look, I'd be either looking to get long when it touches the bottom end of the channel, okay, or I'd be looking to get short, given where the current price action is. Looking to get short when it touches the top end of the channel. My outs, so if I was to short at the top end of the channel over here, would have to be the break of the higher high. In this case, it would be the breaking of 1490, 1493, give or take that area. If it made a higher high, that would mean the trade is invalid. In exactly the opposite way, if I got long, this stock, the making of a lower low would be the exiting of this channel. So if I was to get in here at 1411 and it made a newer low below that, below 14, that would be it. That would be the end of the trade for me. I hope that's clear. Did you?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So yeah, so basically playing within where the range is for your points of entry and exit. And as we were saying earlier too, and
to base your stops on the higher high in the case of a short, or the lower low in the case of a long.
Yeah, so basically like what we were talking about too with chart pattern week and with risk management week, whatever you're using to enter the trade, do the same to exit the trade. So if you're getting in because you're seeing, you know, like we're within this pattern or within this trend and then the trend breaks, then that has to be your stop. Yeah,
Yes,
that makes
exactly.
sense. Thank you. And I think, do you find, sorry to interrupt you there, do you find actually charting it out helps? Like having the lines there kind of helps you to see
but you
where your
can't use
entrances
these
are?
as hard and fast like lines, like
No,
you
that's
would
fair.
say, you know, the $1 level on a small cap gapper. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Where you know that $1 level is going to have a lot of eyes on it. No,
be really key.
this is more of like a general area. You're trying to get in on the lower end of the channel,
Yeah.
and you're trying to get out at the upper end of the channel. You're just playing the channel for what it is, right? But what I would have more of a tight stop on is the stop loss, and the breaking of the lower low or the making of a higher high.
Okay.
That's where it'd be a bit more stringent in my execution.
It's a great word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. For that, but with respect to getting in for the long or getting in for the short, I would be, you know, I don't want to say loosey-goosey with the entry, but it would just a general area of suggestion based with the trend line.
Okay.
But the outs would be the making of a newer low or the making of a higher high. I would be less loosey-goosey with that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you. And I mean, like, that's why I like seeing these like in the wild, you know,
Yeah,
kind
they're
of
hard to
using real
find.
examples because it's easier. And I think Mara is a very clear example of how, you know, now I understand kind of where my entrance or my
Fair.
exit and my stop might be. So thank you.
Jordan Luther says Hood bull flag. Sure, let's have a look at Robin Hood. Okay, so I'm assuming you're looking at the 1 minute because on the 5 we only have one red candle so far on the 5. So let's go to the 1, see if you're accurate. Yeah, you could be. You could be here. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. We have that move up. I mean, I don't like trading Hood because it is lightly traded on the day. I mean, what's the volume right now?
You do have that rectangular kind of shape there, shaped
4.27
with
million.
flag, yeah.
Yeah. So you're not wrong, Jordan. We'll have to wait and see what we get, though. But we have broken up through a clear resistance level. We had trouble breaking through that 1167 area. What's going on? Why is it telling me 1167 is the high? That's not accurate, obviously. Oh, it's so frustrating. Okay, here we go. 1179 is the high. Well, we'll have to wait and see whether this manifests into a bull flag. But yeah, you have all the right makings for it. You have that big move up, and then you have that consolidation area. Let's give it some more time for the price to develop, and then maybe ask me in about 10 minutes or so. We'll have to wait and see. It's flat on the day, though. I mean, we're right back to like this level over here is where we close out on Friday. Okay, let me show you. Get rid of this. So this is what concerns me about this being an actual bull flag. I think this is just a move back into resistance, formerly support, and now it's just going to reject that. So this is 1173 is the Friday close. So you make a move back into 1179, give or take that general area. So we'll have to wait and see if we get it. But yeah, the move up is what we were looking for, that big move up, and then a pull back a little bit. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Good eye on that. We'll have to see if it manifests.
Actually, can I ask a question about that?
Yeah, go
so,
for it.
I'm going to find a way to word this, but so with what you're saying, with would you say that's generally the case, or that can sometimes be the case? Because I know sometimes we were saying with regards to, I'm going to step back a second, sorry.
Yeah,
with
go
regards
ahead.
to indicators, how you can sometimes kind of bolster whether or not something is a pattern or if it's going to be effective if you have, like, you know, confluence with other, you know, indicators and other time frames. So would that be the case then sometimes where you can actually kind of run into I guess resistance, regardless of a strong bullish pattern here, with the example of if we come into contact with the previous close.
I see
I
what
don't know
you're
if
saying.
I worded that well.
Yeah,
I
get your point. You're basically saying, well, you use other levels and other factors to determine whether it's a chart pattern or not.
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Or whether you might run into resistance with the chart pattern.
Right. And in this case, what you're saying is the previous day's close is one of those factors that I could possibly use. Is that fair?
Exactly. Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Thank you so much.
So I would have to agree. But in this case, I'm looking at it more from like a bearish sense because I know that the previous day's close, if we're below it, it's likely going to act as an area of resistance. Fair?
Okay, that makes sense.
And then the pattern that we're looking for is a bullish pattern, the bull flag. So they're kind of, I don't want to say that they're contradictory because they're not technically contradictory, but what I'm looking for is a bullish pattern. Now, it could be coming from negative territory if there's something new, but in this case, we're already well into the trading day. It's 120 right now. All the information, you know, unless there's something coming out intraday, should have been processed by the market. So I would be hesitant to take it at this level, mainly because I just feel like it's a move back into resistance.
That makes sense.
But we'll have to wait and see what the actual pattern does, but I'm not optimistic. I got to tell you the truth.
Thank you.
I got to go back to quickly the future here because we're pumping again on the future, looking to come back into 16. 434.75, got my beak wetter at 35s. We're awfully close to that beak wetter right there. We're at 34s. Here we go. 35s incoming question mark. Let's go, baby. Let's cross 35. There it is, baby. As we move up on the future, that 16.4 holds to a dang T. It is a nice move on the future so far. We're up 0.8%. We're holding 16.4. Are we getting a move back into the Mag 7? Some of the Mag 7 names are recovering. They're still all red on the day. No exceptions, guys. You've got, I would say, the strongest amongst the Mag 7 at the moment is Obi's favorite stock. Amazon only down 0.85. Everything else is 1+% to the south side. Despite the fact that the NQ is now up 0.8. Oh, baby, I haven't seen this type of rotation on the NQ in quite some time. It has been the NQ goes as the Mag 7 goes. Today is the first day in a very long time that has not been the case, but that's great. I mean, everyone's been complaining about the lack of breadth. Everyone has been complaining about, oh, you know, it's been 7 names carrying the market. When are the other names going to participate? Well, here you go, guys. Complain no longer. We have been getting absolute participation by some of these other small, I don't want to say small cap names, maybe large caps and mid caps participating today, just not the megas. Anyway, 16.439.25. Let's see how we do if we get up into that 50-point level. That will be my next look on the NQ. Now, it gets a little bit tricky because we're using the new contract. So you may have levels on the new contract to the high side that you can chart. The problem is the volume on those levels is likely to be low because, well, technically you're not even really required to use this new contract until Friday, but we have a little bit of a thing on the floor here as we roll over to the new contract on the Monday prior to expiration, meaning that it's expiring on Friday. So charting your resistance levels on a new contract, always a tricky thing, especially if there's no upward resistance. You can use other things. You can use the continuous contract, which I do have access to on my platform, but it's never an exact level because I don't know what the mathematical calculation is to homogenize the two different contracts together. I've seen the explanation in the textbooks before, not that I remember them, but there is a way to combine them together, but you never get the exact levels like you would if you viewed that individual contract on its own, at least not from my understanding. So good look here on the NQ, trying to exercise patience, take this bad boy a little bit longer, but yeah, good look here. Anyway, back to what we were requesting. If you have some names, equities, indices, any instrument of any kind that you're looking to trade, and there is a chart pattern on that you see or you can discern, throw in the chat, tag Adair and I, and we will look at it. And if we agree with you, we'll talk about the entries, the exits, the stops, the losses, etc., and how to get into that particular equity based upon that pattern.
Yeah, I love it. The stops, the losses. That's very, very intense, very beautiful there. Also, Ryan Hurley in the chat congratulating Obi on the Amazon. Yeah, I mean, Amazon's looking mighty
good
fine,
trade,
especially
Obi,
compared to its friends. SPY daily channel up, says Ty in the chat. Let's look at SPY.
Apple reverse head and shoulders. I don't know about that. Possibly.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if you meant like daily, like on the daily chart, or because I mean on the 1 day, SPY does look like I would say a channel to the upside, right? So this would be more of a longer term move because it is, like a daily chart here. But I mean, starting October, I guess around Halloween when things went a little herky jerky for the market. October 30th there, we had this nice swoop to the upside. Now, yeah, like really gorgeous. I would say upward channel on the daily chart for the SPY for sure. Let me look at the Yeah, I mean, I think general, I guess it's a little, I have the 3-minute here. I mean, we still have like, you know, higher lows, higher highs, but I would say in terms of an actual, like actionable channel on the SPY, that daily one is looking pretty fabulous. Bull flag Rivian, question mark, from Gabriel Labra.
Nice.
Let's look,
Have a look
at Rivian.
All I see online there lately is Rivian, the R1T, getting blown away by the Cybertruck.
Really?
In a drag race.
I haven't seen it. It's a pretty one though. I like that chart.
What do you see there? Do you agree, bull flag?
I mean, well, it's down on the day. So automatically I know these are not reversal, head and shoulders are reversal. Sorry, I'm getting the grandpa hands going again with the waving fingers. But yeah, so bull flags are basically, we need to be on an upward market and an upward, you know, trend on the day for this to be a bull flag. And if we are down on the day, then it is a bear flag. I see what formation I think you're referring to, which is kind of this movement there. But unfortunately, it is not a bull flag because Rivian is not in a bull market at this juncture. That would be my take on that. Also in terms of patterns, I mean, this is a little bit different, but I can talk about what inspired me to get into this Lulu trade because we have a double top. So basically I got in here almost, I didn't get top wick, but I'm pretty happy with it. So if we break above this new top, above this 404.50 area, I say, 504.50, I say bye-bye to Lululemon.
Bye-bye.
In terms of my profit takers, I'm looking at this 500 area because that looks like a very beautiful bottom there. This is where we saw a little bit of resistance earlier, this 500 level. I do not hate this trade. I know we're up on the day, but double top is a reversal pattern anyway, so that's something I can kind of keep in mind to myself. I do not dislike this double top on Lulu. Green eggs and ham, I don't know what I'm saying here, continuing wagging my finger. But yeah, as long as we don't make a new high, I will be please just punch with this Lululemon. I will be somersaulting into this trade. I was trying, yeah.
You see Neil in the chat?
Where did he? Sam I am.
There
Thank you,
go.
thank you,
There
Neil.
you
Yeah,
go,
I
Neil.
tried. I was doing a thing. I appreciate you. You know, being down for that. Also, Ian Greenlaw just spit out some coffee from the grandpa hands. Appreciate it. We do what we can. Dr. Seuss, yes, indeed. Also, some people mentioning here, someone was saying something here that I thought was a pattern. ARM bull flag daily chart. So ARM, I believe, is also down on the day.
It is.
Oh, but on the daily. Okay, let me look at the daily.
2/3.
Yeah. So I see a bull flag.
It's a rocket though lately. You know that on the daily.
Yeah,
It's
ARM
been an
has been
absolute
ARM
rocket.
has been wild. Still though, I'm not really seeing a bull flag on the daily. I mean, we sort of had a little bit. We kind of had some consolidation. I would say more we had like kind of a flat channel, but I see what you mean. We did have that swoop to the upside. Thank you. From November 21st through November 27th, but I'm not sure that is really enough because we didn't really have a flaggish movement here. Afterwards, we just had a nice flat channel, then another pop. But yeah, ARM, I will say ARM is strong on the daily. I will concede that. Intraday though, right now, ARM is a skosh weak. ARM kind of trying to climb up over VWAP here. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, Christian wants me to have a look at JetBlue. And we know that JetBlue has been in talks for however long now with, I believe they're actually going to court for its acquisition of Spirit Airlines. It's been a whole thing with the FTC. We're not going to really get into that, but let's have a look at the chart pattern. So here we go. We had a $5.41 close on Friday. We retraced all the way down today into 522 as the low, and then we kind of moved back up. But look where we're moving up to, Christian, okay? This isn't by accident. Reject. This is the 10-minute chart on JetBlue. Reject, 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 all at this white line. Well, what is that white line? Well, that's Friday's close, my friend. So clearly, we are finding resistance at the previous day's close, which you can look at as the day's support. But today, since we're below that, it's going to act as a resistance level, and that's what it's acting as right now. So until we decisively take that 541, it's of no interest to me. We're dancing, we're recovering off the lows, but we're by no means in a bullish trend here on JBLU. It's kind of the same thing that somebody had me look at earlier when they thought maybe there was a bull flag coming in to the previous day's close. So I'm going to go ahead and say, not my cup of tea, not one that not basically a bull flag that I'd be looking for in this particular circumstance. I'd like it to be up on the day, and there has to be something that developed from earlier on, not midday when no news catalyst came in. So I'm going to go ahead and say No go for me on JetBlue. That doesn't mean it doesn't trend though, and that's the point that I'm trying to make, right? It absolutely can continue to trend, and it's the way that the chart manifests could absolutely continue north, but not have any discernible chart patterns, except maybe an upward channel, right? Where, you know, it continuously makes higher highs and higher lows, but nothing like a bull flag, a wedge of any sort, anything like that, okay? So just because we're up on the day and just because it's recovered off the bottoms doesn't mean there's an actual chart pattern in that particular instance. I hope that helps, but it's good. And he's up 100% for a swing. Shout out to you, man. I'm happy for you, dude. Yeah, that's big money. That's not a joke. Shout out to you for that. But with respect to, you know, any sort of pattern happening at the moment, I would have to respectfully disagree. All right, new high a day on the future, baby. We keep pumping up here on the NQ. We're up 0.82%. Do we see 1% on the day? 443, and there it is. We get that beak wetter through that. Sorry, 16,443. What I'm looking for is resistance at 16,450. Before we get a nice big move down, I'm looking for that that 50-point level to be an interest, or like, you know, an intervening area of resistance. Whether or not we reject off that for the day and trend back south is a whole different story, but we'll have to wait and see what we do at 16,450 if we make it up there. Anyway, strong day right now on the NQ. Where were we at lows? So technically the overnight low is 16,256. So we're almost 200 points above the overnight low. But to be fair, the opening print was more around 16.3, around, okay? It's not exactly at 16.3. Let's say it's around 16.3. So we're nicely up almost 150 points north of the opening print. That is a decent day, no question about it, especially for the new contract. Yeah, so not much to talk about there. Guys, put in the chat stocks that you see forming patterns. We want to talk about entries and exits for chart patterns. That is the topic of the day. Tomorrow and the day after, we will be talking about entries and exits for economic events. I think, you know, one of those ones that we failed, or I failed, to take advantage of today was the 10-year note auction. The 10-year is a big auction. It only got 2 bulls out of 3 here on my app, but in my books it's 3 out of 3 because of how closely it's being followed by the market right now, whether in terms of doing the Fed's job for it by keeping rates elevated and not really forcing the Fed to raise its rates. Not only because it's actually followed by mortgage lenders. They base a lot of the rates off the 10-year. There's so many reasons why the 10-year is an important auction, and I failed to take that into account today. It came out at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow, though, we will have CPI bright and early at 8:30. That is one of those ones where you can plan a trade around. There's a wicked trader on this floor that took 150 handles or some odd handles on an ES CPI print, and that's how he graduated. Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were telling me this story. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a big boy move there. So that's very important as well. The 2 o'clock session on Friday and the 2:30 session, 2 o'clock being the releasing of whether or not we're going to have a rate increase or stay the same or a decrease from the Fed, the FOMC meeting. And then 2:30, of course, Jerome Powell takes questions from reporters, and that's always a very volatile time, especially if, you know, he strays off the narrative and starts ad-libbing or whatever, or says something new.
Or if the doors, you know, are just not closed. No, I'm joking, but.
That wasn't at the FOMC meeting.
That I know.
But yeah, your point taken. No question about that. Ram's laughing up a storm back there. No, it's more than once. Yeah, that was more than once, Ram. Yeah.
I like that. Like Neil's keeping everyone in check over here.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, no question about that. So we're talking about entries and exits for major economic events in the next couple of days, and we'll be looking at, obviously, the FOMC and CPI.
It's nice when they're like back to back like that. I don't remember the last time they've been back to back. To be
No,
honest with
and
you.
I think it'll be like a good week as well for us to do these. We were talking about this last week too. I think it's a good week when we kind of plan this to do entries and exits, right? And I also think I would like to, if I may, I think one thing about entries and exit, especially with patterns with today, that I learned with that kind of horrendous and scary Eli Lilly short from earlier, is that just because a pattern looks like it exists does not mean that it's real. As as Sharif was saying, and I think that I really appreciated, sometimes they don't manifest.
No.
That just means you have to be on your game with regards to, I'm doing the grandpa hands again, with regards to risk management, and be ready to get out of that trade. Because the market doesn't care about your feelings.
It doesn't.
And it doesn't care about your Eli Lilly short and the fat fingers that got you into it. And I think, today is, I'll pull it up again because we learned from our mistakes up in the club here. But yeah, so this trade was, put a sad face on my face here, if it will load.
Neil's killing it in the chat.
I don't know what's happening. But, okay, yeah, Neil, I just saw that, Neil, I'm dying. But, but yeah, here, so this as you can tell in the 5-minute, I had a really nice short earlier on this one. Then, because I thought we were seeing more of a bull or bear flag here, I got involved, accidentally got in double what I wanted to, and then we kind of flew to the upside before I could even get any kind of stop here. So I'm happy I got out where I did, but I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that, you have to be prepared that things might not go how you want to. The best laid plans of mice and men will go awry. So you just have to get out here. And I think this is an example of that. I think it's especially, I would say, hopefully means something with regards to chart pattern and channel day.
Yeah.
So you can have your entries and exits planned, but you always have to be prepared for them to smack you in the face.
I like how you ended out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna end on a note there.
All right, someone was telling me to look at AMD on the 1 minute with a possible triple top, and I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree, but that's a good look. I like how you're trying to identify these patterns. The only reason I disagree is look at what we're getting here. Sure, you have a resistance level south of that 134, but look what's happening with the lows. You can't discount the price action at the lower or the troughs, okay? You're clearly getting a series of higher lows here within an already nice bullish move on the day. You're up 3 2/3%, okay? So what do we know about ascending wedges?
So we know about ascending wedges is that you need to have a flat top, and you're gonna have higher. Sorry, my hand's in the way. So you're gonna have higher lows and a flat top. And I know the more touches you have of that higher high is more poignant.
Bang.
And the more it's also, if you have a big swoop of volume when you break up, that's also a stronger sign.
Bang. And what needs to what kind of pattern is the ascending wedge?
It is, I believe, a continuation.
Bang.
Okay.
And so if it's a continuation pattern, what price action do you need to precede the actual forming of the wedge?
Well, because it's a positive pattern break to the upside, we would therefore need a bull market for that stock. So we'd have to be in an upward trend.
It doesn't need to be a bull market.
Sorry,
It needs to be an upward. Yeah.
That makes sense. Sorry,
Bang.
yeah.
Absolutely. Everything you said is accurate there, except the bull market part,
Yeah.
which I know what you meant.
Yeah.
Oh, hello,
Max.
Max.
Hi, Max.
Matt, there he is. Oh, he's not there.
Zooming by. Oh, he's in the back there.
You were
Zooming
just
by
on the
in his Lambo.
television, so I thought you were there. You were in the Ferrari, in the Lambo. Max
You
is
almost said
looking
the
at me like he's looking at me like I'm crazy right now, but all good. Yeah, so I would say that is an ascending wedge, possibly here with a series of higher lows.
Because that's a flat top, more or less.
Yeah, with a 134-ish flat top. So let's talk about this one because it's a good pattern. Where am I getting in, and where am I getting out, and where am I stopped? So based on the fact that I'm seeing it right now and I want to bamboozle my way into a trade, I'm looking at getting in near the touch of the upward lower trend line, which is this trend line right here. So in this case, I would have gotten in 133.70, 133 2/3, okay? What I'm looking for is a break of this 133.95, $134 area, because that is the flat top. So I'm looking to take profit above that. Now, where am I getting out? Where is my stop set up if this actually goes the opposite way and rejects 134? To me, if I got in over here, the very clear trough is this one over here where we bottomed out and then made an attempt at 134 again. So if it breaks at 133.40, so maybe that 133 1/3, that's where I'm placing my stop. So it's going to be in and around right here. Now, moving in, do we have the requisite amount of upside potential to justify this trade. You'll recall from the first week we talked about risk to reward ratios. So if I'm going to risk, in this particular case, I have to risk, let's say I got in at 133.70 and I'm going to get out at 133.33. So that is 37 cents worth of risk. So is there 37 cents from the breakout point to the upside? Well, yeah, there is. There is over $1 because we have a 134 flat top with the high a day being at 135.04. So from a 1-to-1 or 1.5-to-1, you've got it there, okay? And that doesn't mean you're going to stop only at that 135. You could continue to run, but you know at least you have that much potential to break to the upside, especially if the NQ continues to go. So my out would be, the stop loss would be at 133 1/3. My first profit taker obviously is going to be just after that 134 area, and then I'm holding for at least that 135 touch. That's how I'd get in, and I'm looking to get in at the lower end of this trend line right here.
Okay. If I may ask a question.
Go for it.
So I know, like, so generally, I know it's like whatever like the next low would be, right? But I think, is it because, so would you be setting it at the 133 1/3?
Yeah.
Because the other lower lows are so close to where you'd be getting in?
Yeah, and there,
Okay.
look, because
so it's like discretion, basically.
this is the 1-minute chart too. So you have to understand there's a lot of noise. If I was to put the 5-minute chart, make it look a little
oh,
bit
that's
better.
way clearer that it's 133.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
thank you.
this would be the very clear level to me around right here, right? This would be the bottom trend, or you can even keep it here, to be honest with you. It's really going to depend on your risk appetite and how bullish we are on the day. I mean, like, it's quite a bullish day.
So it's another example of multi-time frame confirmation
That's
to
what I
make
would
sure
do.
you know where you're getting in and out. Okay, thank you so much. I
Absolutely, yeah.
really appreciate that.
We'll see if we get that breakthrough 134. I mean, you could get some bamboozlement here and you might get a break south, but as long as we don't break through this particular level, I think that the trend is still intact. Now, you may make a couple of wicks. Like, look at this wick over here at the 136 time slot.
Oof.
It technically broke below this one over here, but look where the closing print is. It's far north.
Yeah.
So the wick comes in. That's why I would say, you know, trading on the 1-minute time frame a little bit tough because there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of wicking. But like you said, multi-time frame confirmation. Look at the 5, see if it jives on the 5, and then see what you get.
So that wick would then suggest, like, kind of what you said. It's like we attempted to have some selling there, but the buyers kind of all bought it back up, and that's why we closed where we did, or
well, that's typically
sort of?
what happens.
Okay.
Like OB would call that a liquidity grab,
Yes.
whether or not you actually had a liquidity grab there, or some algo just being turned on. It's hard to know. I mean, it's impossible to peek
I
behind the
understand.
veil.
I'm just trying to look at that here.
But
Okay.
I like this. Higher lows, obviously, you don't have to be a genius to be able to see higher lows
And
with
an
the flat
ascending.
top.
Yeah.
We know that beyond that flat top, we have a day high of 135. That's $1 removed from that flat top. So I like this
It's
particular
looking
trade.
really good, especially
Right?
because if you go further, right, it was a big area there, it was a big area there, then we pushed above it, and then it became actually kind of an area of resistance.
Right.
This is really fascinating.
It's interesting.
This is a really good example
A
here.
lot
this
of
AMD.
intersecting levels here. Initially, like you said, I didn't even notice that. Thank you for pointing that out.
I'm learning from you. You're the one who points the stuff
bang
out,
on.
so that's
I mean,
why
I had it
noticed
too zoomed in, and I really should have been zooming out. Look at this. Obviously, we know that this is an area of resistance based upon initial rejections. We had that rejection here, rejection there before we really started to pump into the high side there at 135.
And then that's where we flew off from there, that area too.
Yes, ma'am.
Interesting times.
All right, we are making. Oh, I got a beak wetter up here. I didn't even notice. Woo!
The duck is like going to the pond all by itself there.
It
Look at
is.
that.
Yeah, that's what resting profit takers do, baby. Put
I like
out
doing
your
those
resting
too,
orders.
because then you just get it and you're like, oh, look at that.
Well, there you go, because old man hands can't hang over here.
Old man grandpa fingers cannot participate.
Right? I'm looking for possible resistance. I'm going to say this again, guys. I don't care. 16,450. Let's see what we get at that 50-point level on the NQ. New contract, guys. We are now on the March contract. If you're on Day Trade the World, if you are trading with Day Trade the World, that is the H contract. So you're H24, not Z23 anymore. So the numbers obviously denote the year that we're trading, and H obviously, I guess that's the new one of the bunch.
Is that 2024 H?
Yeah.
I just didn't realize that. I'm like,
Oh,
that's
I don't know what
interesting,
the H. I think H is the first in the series because there's like H and there's Z. There's all these other ones, right?
Yeah, because it's 24. I was just interested about the H.
It's a year. Yeah. I don't know exactly what the H stands for, to be honest with you. All right. M. Allen, bull flag daily on Sunrun. Sorry, recomment. Don't worry about it, man, because we don't see most of the tags because we're talking, right? So we can't talk and see the tags at the same time. Let me just get a beak wetter up in this. You know what? We'll put that there.
You know what?
Yeah, Sunrun. I used to trade this stock all the time.
I know you've mentioned it before. Yeah, it's the run as the ticker, right?
Yeah, it's a 2021 darling.
An Oscar darling. I love that you're calling everything a darling right now.
Yeah.
So word of the day.
It reminds me of, you have no idea, these solar stocks in 2020 and 2021 were monsters, especially when Biden got elected, because then everyone thought, oh, the Dems, green energy, and then it was like the wheat
so it was
stocks.
like kind of like everyone was really getting into that.
Oh, they were all pumped about it. When Biden won the re-election, everybody, the weed was running because it's Kamala Harris and the debate she had with Pence, and she's like, we're gonna legalize this, that, and the other. And because you assumed that the Dems were going to be more green energy inclined.
So then everyone was getting excited.
Exactly. And so these were running big. So
I'm noticing kind of a consistent level on this one actually on run.
Yeah,
well, but also on the top side, look, we kind of have that level 1, 2, 3.
Look who's becoming an expert chart reader now.
It's because I'm going to give you credit here.
Yeah.
I give you credit here.
Okay.
Calm down. I'm trying to give you credit and you're telling me to calm down.
Like in a good way, because you're like reading this really well.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, I think this seems to be a significant level here that we're at we're approaching right now.
How many times do we have to intersect and deal with this level before we take it? We took it out once, and look how quickly we retrace below. 1340, for whatever reason, seems to be a level. What was your question about Sunrun, M? Bull flag daily. So we're looking at the 1 minute. We got to look at the daily here. Possibly, here's the thing, though. M. Allen, I don't know what your first name is, so I'm just going to call you M. Allen. I like the upward channel thesis a little bit better because you don't have that decided move up and then a period of longer consolidation. What you have here is a series of higher lows and higher highs. So you could be trending up. This is what I personally see here, and this is what I like. So my trade on this one, it would be, number one, a swing trade, and I'd be interested in bamboozling my way right here at this $13 level, which touches the lower end of the bottom trend line. Where's my out? I'm going to actually have to give it to the break of 11 because that is the next clearly defined trough south of where we are. We know we're in a trough right now because we're coming off highs off that 15 rejection last week, right? So we're at 13. We know this is a trough, and this is the previous trough. This is the one that I see. So, it's a bit of a gap between getting in at 13 and getting out at 11. That's $2 worth of risk. Do you have $2 worth of upside? Recent price action would suggest you do. If you got in at 13, you have in at least a 15.10 just based on recent price action. And we already know that there's a nice level over here at 16 that you can get into. So, and we already know that you've broken through previous tops over here at 1250. You've taken that channel. So you're now switching up the trend a little bit, making higher highs and higher lows. So possible trend change for this bad boy, but I wouldn't look at it as a bull flag. Just personally, I'm looking here as an upward channel. This is how you get in. You get in the lower end. Your stop has to be the break of the previous trough, and then you're looking at profit taking at key levels. In the first case, I would say 15 is your first profit taking level, and then you're looking at 16, taking us back to August highs on Sunrun. Hope that helps.
Yeah, that's a good look, honestly, too, when you chart it. Like, we have that very clear upward trend there.
Yeah.
No, and I know, and I appreciate too what you're saying about, like, if you're gonna get involved with this, does your risk to reward ratio support that? That's something I need to think about now more when I'm doing the channels. You know what I mean? Kind of think, because I like to have, like, a tight risk management strategy, but I think it's important to think, like, what actually is your plan if you're gonna be in a channel? Is it worth getting in at this point? Are you gonna have enough to make it worth your while?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, I've been NVIDIA up because some people asking about this. What was this wick in NVIDIA at 129? This is a dark pool wick. Here, that was kind of what was happening here with NVIDIA, because some people were confused by the dark pool wick there, so just wanted to pull that one up.
Yeah.
So basically, I feel like I word this not the best,
And
but
I
generally,
have that on my thing for whatever reason, and I don't get dark pool wicks, but see it?
yeah, it's even
I
on
don't know
yours.
why.
Yes,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
the whole chat was mentioning that. So basically, usually these just kind of like are a blip and then they get kind of more resolved. But I think if I remember correctly, it's when there's a very large ask or bid waiting down the pipeline. and then it gets filled.
Dark pool?
Yeah, the dark pool or no?
Dark pool is basically an exchange between big money. Oh, there we go. I gotta spin the money because we just got that 16450 touch in and around there, and we took a beak wetter on the future. But dark pools are basically exchanges between big traders that take place outside of the lit market.
Okay.
I think regulations require us to show all the prints, and so that's why we get them ex post facto, and then we show them. They could have taken place like hours earlier, or even possibly days. That's why they're so outside of the trading range that we're currently at right now.
That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like I always kind of get those confused. So thank you for that. But that is what's going on with NVIDIA. They're also sorry. I just want to address Bears versus Bulls saying that. Thank you. Showed it to them. The H is the delivery month. Starts with an F for January.
Thank you.
So there you go. I appreciate. So that would be March then, I guess.
Yes. Well, there's no January contract for the future at the moment. It jumps from December to March.
It. Okay, so if F is, so it would be FGH. So that's why H would be the March contract. Because if F is January. Okay. I'm trying to math that in my head right now. But thank you, Bears versus Bulls. Really appreciate that little drop in knowledge there. Yeah. Beautiful times.
AVGO is an absolute rocket. It is at $1,030. This thing was at $930 or $50 or whatever this morning. What a rocket. Where's my AVGO chart over here? We were in this one earlier. Let's zoom out here and see where the pre-market trading was. Yeah, around 950. I mean, you really want to get gangster. Yeah, we were around 950 in the morning. We're now $80 off the pre-market consolidation on AVGO. And I feel like a dang, you know what, having got on this bad boy at 1008 because it continued to rocket to the upside, but not feeling too bad about it because look at the future, baby. We are now above 16,450. It is continuing to run. We've had a 16.4 hold, no doubt about that. We're going to see if this one can make it up to 16.5, but I was looking for this particular area to be the real area of resistance. Again, I want to mention to you, we are on a new contract, and when you're on a new contract, sometimes it's hard to chart the resistance levels because you haven't had enough trading take place with adequate volume at those elevated levels to really be sure, yeah, this is a resistance level. There's ways to get around that. You can use the continuous contract, whatever. That it's not as, finely tuned as using previously traded resistance levels with volume. So good look on the future, no doubt about that, but the Mag 7 still really not coming back to where they were in the pre. We've had some decent recoveries on some of the Mag 7 names. Case in point, Meta. Meta is doing a bit of a roundy face there. Okay, a smiley face here.
A roundy face.
As we get back into 325, we had a 320 hold. Technically, the low of the day on Meta is $319.99. So essentially $320. That was the low of day, and we've been trending back up ever since. We are now knocking on the door of 326 on META, guys. But we close out Friday at 332.75-ish, 332 3/4. So we are far off the Friday close. I would say the best of the bunch has to have been this Amazon long. Look at this.
Shout out to Obi. Yeah, this is gorgeous.
Is he still in that? He's not here, so we don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out shortly as we have about 8 minutes left on the show, Adara. Upward channel for AMZN. Perfect time to explain where to get into this. If you were to get into it anytime in these three touches over here, if you were to get in the second trough, you'd be getting in around that 144 area. Your stop would have to be below 143 2/3 because that is the low, that is the break of the previous trough. If you're getting in on the second trough, you're basing your stop loss on the low of the previous trough. So if I was to get in here on the third trough at that 144 1/3, my out would have been the break of 143.90 because that is the bottom end of that trough. Now, where are you taking profits? You're taking profits when you touch the upper end of or the top trend line on the top there to make the channel. So you would be taking profits right now essentially. But, what I would be looking for here, the best case scenario, is a decided break through that upper trend channel on volume. You're not getting that. When you look at the volume, it's all been consistent throughout. In fact, it looks like it's declining a little bit. If if I'm being honest. So nothing like that event took place where you have a huge break through the upper trend line on volume. So this would have been a range trade, albeit an upper channel range trade. So great look on Amazon today. You had a very similar look on Google, where you kind of based out 132-ish was really the low. I mean, you got to a wick around there, 131 and a third, but ever since then, it's been higher lows and higher highs, making a bit of an upward channel, trying to recover off that big move down on the bell. Look at the futures, absolutely pumped to the high side, 16,455 now, Adara. We have the high of day, 16,457.
And you got it at 16,404. That is,
yeah, because we were
beautiful.
watching to see what happened at 16,4.
Look at that. I mean, I think that's like, there you go. Like, we're talking about, like, you know, waiting for your levels and being patient. I think that's a really key example. And I think also, you know, like, congrats to both your trades today, because that AVGO
was not bad.
Was a thing. I mean, I was going to say it was a thing of beauty, but yeah, definitely wasn't bad.
It was not a bad trade.
But yeah, no, that was really solid.
What do we got over here? What is that, pins?
Yeah, this is pins. I was kind of thinking we could have, I guess more of a bear flag. I was also thinking it'd be, but yeah,
an ascending wedge.
Yeah, because we're up on the day. That's
but what happens with the ascending wedge? What needs to precede it?
We need to have movement to the
Otherwise,
inside.
We're going to have a Lee Auto ascending wedge.
Or descending, which Remember? Is a fake, which is a fake out. That's a good example. It's its own Sharif's patented curve pattern, the Lee Auto ascending wedge.
It was descending at that time, but it was preceded by an uptrend.
And then a descending wedge.
And then we had a descending wedge, which doesn't make sense if you're looking for it to be a continuation pattern. In this case, it acted as a reversal pattern. And this was studied nicely. When you look at the chartered market technician materials for the first year, there's a dude, I forget his name, he did a study, the most comprehensive study on chart patterns done to date. And he tells you what the chances are of that pattern actually following through depending on where it arises. So for example, what I mean, so a descending wedge, like the one I was talking about on Lee Auto, it was preceded by a big uptrend. What percentage of the time is a descending wedge accurate if it's preceded by an uptrend versus when it's preceded by a downtrend? And he shows you the mathematical or the statistical data behind that. I don't know it offhand, but I'm just letting you guys know that that area has been studied. Yeah, anything else? Because we got about 4 minutes.
I mean, just a shout out here. And speaking of chart patterns, I think this is pretty funny. Tony Price and Michael Noss, every time he hears roundy face and the eye roll emoji.
Oh, he would
and then
be displeased.
Bears versus Bulls saying he might start using it. Just enjoyed that exchange quite a lot indeed. Also, in retrospect, we probably had a roundy face in Lululemon. I went short here because, you know, I mean, I was thinking we saw a double top, perhaps. You saw a couple candles to the downside. It didn't work out, but I did have my planned out. So this is actually a very tight exit. Very proud of myself here. Also Meta, really wish I had gotten on that plane because Meta was a rocket ship. You know, Mark Zuckerberg answered the phone and we flew to the upside. I did try to take a teeny tiny baby short, and I say baby short because we were in here. This is, again, like I said, I've been trying to focus on having tighter stops, and that definitely helped me out here because I was able to get out of this very, very quickly. I had legitimately the tiniest amount of shares one could take. I got in here because I knew this was kind of an area that we dropped off from a little bit earlier, that 324. Alas, it didn't work out.
Alas.
I'm not trying to hold on to trading ideas too long. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be a bit more loosey-goosey, to borrow a phrase, a piece of verbiage Sharif used earlier. You know, trying to be a little bit more free, a little bit more open and honest. And honestly, I have to recognize the fact that maybe I was revenge trading because I really wanted that long at 322.50, and I did not. Alas, I did not get it. So, you know, I have to really look at it mentally, and maybe, you know, maybe I'll trade journal this and be like, you know, Adara, you really should not have gotten in on that 324 short. But, you know, I had to set a really tight stop. I think in general, I'm just trying to reflect more on my trades and not be too hard on myself, but also learn a thing or two, because I'm very lucky to be in a sim.
Absolutely. Obi, the people want to know, are you still holding the Amazon long?
Whew.
Well, before I got the answer, but I was just told very wisely by Ram that I should keep you guys in a state of suspense because in 2 minutes you're going to find out on your own. So you got to stay tuned for the afternoon show.
Neil says don't spoil it, build the suspense.
Exactly, no.
I like that.
How amateurish of me to actually not think about that. Yeah, well, sorry, Neil.
Neil's chastising you there.
Yeah, he is. Like, yeah, Sharif, get it together. But yeah, a couple of minutes left on the show, guys. It's been great. We've been talking about the future. We saw the 10-year auction. We've been talking about entries and exits in channels, whether upward, downward, or consolidative, as well as chart patterns. We talked about wedges. We talked about flags, bull and bearish. We talked about heads and shoulders. We saw a couple of those.
And toes.
Tomorrow, we'll be talking, or in the rest of the week, we'll be talking about entries and exits. Tomorrow and Wednesday, we're going to be talking about entries and exits for economic events, and more appropriate, it could not be, because tomorrow we have CPI 8:30, bright and early. Make sure to check us out on the morning show, and then the day following that, we'll have PPI at 8:30. But the real thing on Wednesday is going to be the FOMC decision coming out at 2, and then the following that is going to be 2:30 when Jerome Powell gets on the mic and starts taking reporters' questions. All sorts of volatility can take place at that time, so make sure to check us out, and we'll be talking about how to possibly structure trades around that, Adara.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this upcoming week. I think I learned a lot. Thank you so much, Sheree, for answering my questions, and for everybody in the chat giving us these great examples to look at, because even if it's not exactly a pattern, we were kind of able to talk about why it wasn't a pattern, right? So I think I learned a lot. I really hope, somebody else got something out of this as well. Made some questionable trades, but, hopefully taking less L's, making more M's on the total. Right now, though, the trading was a skosh abysmal today. But the great thing is all I can do is go up from here. But yeah, for now, it looks like we shall say au revoir, adieu, sayonara. We will see you tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, for more entries and exits. Brendo's at the big desk.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in 2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon here. Some, we'll call it cautious optimism coming back into the market here, back to the upside for both the S&P and the